This is Bits, a co-host with WX8BK's Night Train broadcast. We're on Twitter Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, where myself, along with One Wheel Willie, and our third Mike, Mike Nash, interview interesting artists and people from the Web3 world and everything in between, including, and not limited to, building your own coffee table and how acrylic paints don't want to look drippy. This episode's guest is HP LOVEBUX, a post-Americana artist that grew up playing in the dirt, riding BMX bikes, and watching stock car races at Catamount Stadium in Vermont. Now he's bringing back all of these sights, smells, sounds, and emotions in the form of beautiful paintings that capture this era to be shared with those that lived those times and to those that will never experience it. As he takes us on a journey explaining some of the pieces in his new collection, we will have them up on the screen for you to follow along with us, so make sure you keep your eyes open. As of this broadcast, all of the pieces were available for purchase with a matching NFT as a part of proof of authenticity. I really enjoyed this interview. HP took us on a journey and taught us a lot. As always, for more information on the artist, check the links below. Also hit the subscribe button and check out more of our great interviews.
Yes, sir. I was waiting to see if that automatic stereo radio and music. What's the word? God, I'm just lost today. It was going to kick in.
I think that's something. I don't know. That doesn't sound, it's weird. I've never heard that in any other space, honestly.
I hear it all the time.
Really?
Or I hear somebody say that it's there.
No, I've never heard it.
I don't know if I've actually heard the music because I think somebody said, no, I played such and such when they thought it was the automatic.
It's interesting. Well, speaking of automatic music, I'll drop our nice little opening song tonight.
When I think of you, 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 think of you.
I don't think of nobody, only money, give it to me. They was laughing, now it's funny how they love me. I'm a motherfucking musty, you must be out of your mind thinking you could touch me. Go ahead and judge me, you'll never fucking budge me. Pockets getting pudgy, accomplishments getting fuzzy. Yuck, how frequently they come and you know you not really wanted. Stop playing, bitch, you nothing. Don't make me show you, look. Fuck your anxiety, fuck your society. You should ride with me, we gon' mob the streets. Fuck the make-believe, we gon' make the peace. You just wait and see, we taking everything.
Just me and you.
All aboard!
If I were you, I would think about climbing on board.
Hola! How you doing, everybody?
¿Cómo está?
That's it. That's all I know. Hola. Sorry. Drop it there.
¿Dónde está el baño?
Yeah, you're going to call me out on it.
¿Qué,
Well, that's about the bathroom, right? Baño.
¿Qué es el biblioteca? That's about it. That's about all you get from me.
There you go, buddy. Well, you got yourself made. You're happening. You can order a beer probably too, I'd imagine.
Oh, un más cerveza, por favor.
There you go. There you go.
Make it 6 más. 6 más. They were going to be like, what the? Shout out to Empress.
Empress
She's probably pretty fluent in Spanish by now.
Yeah.
If she wasn't already.
She's probably making notes and critiquing you right now, so that next week when she's gonna correct you, and maybe you'll teach us a thing or two. And I guess that's a good little thing to mention. Yeah, Empress Trash is our guest next week here on the space. Mention that when we roll into this right now. Got Proteon kicking down there. The great Nick Dimes down there. Our guest of honor this evening, HP LOVEBUX down there. It's going to be a good show tonight. I'm excited. I don't know if we're getting Mike Nash tonight. I think he might be on the road, so we might be Mike Nashless tonight. We don't know. We'll see. He pops in sometimes. He's making the trip
Oh,
for that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. He said he wasn't sure. I spoke with him yesterday, and he said he wasn't sure if him and his son would be on the road.
Yeah, I
But
think you're right.
you'd figure if they were on the road, you could at least have us streaming and listen to us, man. Oh, maybe he's in there in the shadow band listeners. Over
Like,
1 million shadow band listeners every Tuesday night listening to this space. That's one of our great claims to fame. You of course can't see them because they're shadow band.
I thought I
Yeah.
was shadow banned there because speaking of Mike Nash, he tried to tag me in a photo or something. I guess I had a setting turned off, and so I was like, "Oh man," he's like, "Hey, I tried to tag you, but I couldn't." I was like, "Oh shit, am I shadow banned now? What did I do?"
Yeah, you're still here. That's interesting that you can shut something like that off, but I guess if you don't want the notifications or whatever, but
I
yeah.
I think it might have been off default because I don't remember ever setting it that way.
Huh.
So
I don't know if I've ever
he was trying
tagged.
to tag me in the Kelly Telfer post he got because he received his physical print the other day.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm gonna get that pinned up at the top because his looks fly. He's got that rear end of the Volkswagen bus that
Yeah.
he got. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I'm really stoked. Mine is apparently waiting for me at the shipping depot down there in America. So I'm gonna have to make a trip. I don't know if I'm gonna get down there this weekend or not, but I'm excited to pick mine up. I picked the Porsche 911 print was the one that I got. So I get it. I'm really excited to get that 100%. What did you pick? Are you still there? Am I still here?
Yeah, no, I think I need to fix my Wi-Fi in the backyard.
Damn it! What kind of a world are we living in where the Wi-Fi is going down in the backyard? What the hell, man? But yeah, those prints are on the way, and that was a past guest that we had. Just to fill in everybody that doesn't know, it was a past guest. Kelly Telfer was on, and he's an amazing artist in the race car world. He has done a bazillion things that we've all probably seen if you've ever seen a race car piece of art anywhere. He's a crazy artist, but he gifted everybody in the space that night one of his prints of their choice. So that was really cool, and we're all just getting them now. So it'll be exciting. I guess Dan Williams, he'll be the last one since he's in Australia. He'll be the last one to get his.
He'll probably get his before me, and I'm only like an hour drive from him.
Well, that was weird. I was the first one. Mine was the first one to get it, and I thought that was kind of odd. But I don't know. I guess Montana was just a better route or something.
Yeah, unless they're going out individually, kind of thing. I mean,
Sure.
I know he's got a couple employees, but they could be going out not all at the same time.
I pinned up Mike Nash's
case.
at the top there. So he wants to take a little peek at that. Check out Kelly Telfer sometime. I'm speaking of Dan Williams. I'm waiting on his too. So I got a Dan Williams print on the way, and that's been sent out as well. So I'm pretty stoked. I can't wait to get that. That's going to be awesome. Coming all the way from Australia. That's going to be so dope to get that. I won that because that was part of the Journey drop. Well, it's all Journeys. I think his whole collection that he released was the Journey collection, but
Journey with Friends?
Journey with Family, I believe is what I got this print for, collecting the 4, I think. Or no. Sorry, it was because I was number 3 collector of his Wag Me Wine label that he created.
There you go.
That's what it was. So many things to remember. And I've got it written down in front of me, and I couldn't even remember that. I wrote it down wrong, too. But yeah, that's why. Definitely, if you're all interested in some pretty awesome Australian Indigenous art, check out Dan Williams down there in the corner. When you have a sec, he does some really great stuff, and it all has meaning, which is just, I mean, of course, most art does. But yeah, biting my tongue here now. Getting all mixed up reading 5 different things. This Web3 journey for me has been crazy. I'm almost at a year And it feels like I've been doing in this freaking Web3 for like 20 years, man. It's been wild this last
Well,
year.
we're almost close to a year on the spaces. We're only like
Just
2 months away.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I can't believe we've been around for that long doing this space. I can't believe that people keep coming back listening to us. It's amazing. Our supporters are awesome. Actually, it's all in the guests that we have, 100%. I don't know if they'd come and listen to us just blabbing for 5 hours.
Some of
Maybe.
them would,
Yeah, that's true. Some of them
but not
would.
as many. Definitely
No.
not as many.
No, a big day in the space would be like when we had like 4 people, 5 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like ever since I got into this, I never thought in my life, like my mouse battery or the battery in my keyboard, like I'd replace that shit like man, like once a year at the most, if not longer. And it's like now I'm like cruising through these things like 2 months flat. Even my iPhone, like I never thought in my life that I would ever kill an iPhone battery in a day, not in a million years. Now I usually only make it about 3/4 of the way through the day and my battery's dead. Look at me being a kid using the cell phone all the time, screen time.
Yeah, you can definitely tell you're not an office jockey.
No, fuck no. Nope, I'm a
Yeah.
mechanic and not much use for that crap out on the floor other
They
than
make mice
smashing
with
it,
batteries.
getting it covered in.
What do you
What's
need a
that?
battery and a mouse for?
My mouse takes a battery.
Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I can't use a
in all,
wireless mouse. It's impossible.
in all. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love my wireless mouse. It's one less cord on my desk, man. Especially now since running these spaces, I got freaking cords all over the space here.
I wish.
Wait,
I've looked into like wireless mice that have an actual charging pad underneath them. They still have a freaking cord though. So I'm like, what the hell's the point?
yeah,
Like the charging pad just has the cord at that point, not the mouse. I'm like, fuck that, whatever.
mine just takes a AAA battery. So, but I go buy them at the dollar store. It's no big deal. Rechargeable might be a little better. I got to upgrade these things now. I don't know. This is all shit that I didn't know. I never had no use for this crap. Christ, I didn't even have a Twitter account until a year ago. I didn't never used Discord till a year ago. Dude,
Yeah, I never used Discord, that's for sure.
46 years old. Look at all these things I'm doing. I mean, I'm not a stranger to technology. Let's be realistic about it here. I'm a nerd, but never had a use for all that stuff. And now if it wasn't for that stuff, I don't know where I'd be. I'd lose 90% of my friends. I'd lose 90% of my 10 friends.
Yeah.
You'd still talk to me, right, Willie? Call me up on the landline.
Oh yeah, I'd have to at that point, right?
Yeah, right.
Build a ham radio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there we go.
Just be ham radio nerds.
A little bit far for smoke signals, maybe, I guess, but
Yeah.
good. What's been happening with you in the week? You got anything interesting going on? Bought any neat shit?
No, man, I've been inside the office. It sucks. I hate it. I don't like office people. They're boring as shit. And
I don't know.
I can't talk about my outside office life because then they'll know that I'm, when I'm not in the office, I'm on my computer degening all day. So,
Right.
I can't like tell them like, oh, hey, check out my Twitter. Nah, fuck that. Then they'll see all my tweets all day long.
Well, and then they'll go, wait, One Wheel Willie's not your real name.
Yeah, I'll be like, how are you actually getting any work done? I don't know.
Yeah, right. The boss would find out and realize your productivity would go through the roof.
Uh-huh. Luckily, when I'm in the office, so many people bother me that my productivity stays the same. So
there you go.
I'm like, no, people bother me all goddamn day long.
I've never worked in an office, but I imagine it must be a little bit advantageous to be in an office. I mean, so you got that face-to-face communication and shooting things back and forth with people. I mean, I don't know. I've never worked in an office. Maybe I don't know what it's about, but that's how I would feel. Like like with me when I'm working in a shop, having another mechanic just to go, hey man, fuck, you ever seen this before? I've never seen this before. What is, right?
No, it's a lot more microaggressions and power moves. Like, hey, can you come down to my office for a minute? What the fuck for? Oh, hey, okay, we just need to change this little piece of text right here. That could have been a phone call. Didn't need to walk all the way down the hallway so you could say that we need to change this text to that text. Nope, didn't need to do that.
Well, there you go. These are
Yeah,
the ins and outs.
it's a lot of that. It's don't don't glorify it.
All right, fine. All right, fair enough. Well, I've
See,
never been. I wouldn't survive in an office, anyways.
and because I learned that over the years, that's actually what's going on. Now, when I'm in the office, that's what I do. I go, oh yeah, you want me to come? You want me to be in the office? Hey, I'm gonna need you to come down to my office for a second so I can show you something.
In the shop,
Yeah.
it's like, hey man, come over here. Fuck you. So, but I tried doing years and years ago. I did web design and some graphic design eons ago, and I couldn't even deal with that. And I was working from home, but it was like just having to do that stuff and sit in front of a computer at a desk was just not for me. There was no stand-up desks and ergonomics 20 freaking something years ago, but
It's probably just because you're using a wireless mouse.
no, there certainly wasn't a wireless mouse back then. I think back, let's face the facts here. A CD burner back then cost like fucking $1,800. Now you can go find them in a thrift store.
Yeah, you probably had a rollerball.
No, I never had. I wasn't. That was too fancy, man. Too fancy.
No, just like an old rollerball mouse. Like just had the ball on the
Yeah,
underside where the laser is now.
damn straight, man. You'd have to open that sucker up and peel
Real
all the
old school.
crap and crud off of it, like the cat hair. Yeah, 100%, dude.
Showing
100%.
our age on that one.
Mm-hmm. I'm ancient. It's all over. Got a good house in here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for popping in here tonight. We got Empress Trash, as we mentioned earlier. Jen's in here. AI Machina, or Jen's not in here now. She just jumped out. She said, you're going to mention me. I'm gone. Vending
Still on my
NFT.
end.
Is she? Oh, there she just popped
Yeah.
back into mine again. 328. Rod in here. Malicious in there. Oh, Wagme Wine's in here. Wagme Wine drop. New drop is coming up next week. Or this week, next week. Next week is when the wheels start.
Well, we got some stuff going on in the Discord tomorrow. Some wheel spins to figure out what we're gonna need for what you're gonna need for next week if you're interested in getting in on some of that.
Right. So
it'll be the best time to jump in and see what's going on.
Yeah, we took a month off in December, so I'm excited to get back into it. I miss my Wednesday wheels all the time. And moving down the list there, Dan Williams, of course, Payne in here, Telos in here, brother Telos. Welcome, Telos. Good to see you hanging out in here. Click, Elmo, Tan, thanks everybody for coming in. We appreciate you giving us your time tonight and coming to choose to hang out with us. We will have a giveaway. The Spliffsons. I thought I had a tweet ready for that, but we're going to be giving away a piece called The Spliffsons. We'll take a couple of shots throughout hanging out with our guest artist tonight, and we'll do a wheel, and we'll do that giveaway tomorrow night. So just for hanging out in here, you might win yourself a cool little NFT. It's got I like it. I think that one there has got like an $8 Tez floor. So it's pretty good. I could be wrong. I thought I had a tweet ready, and I'm trying to remember what it was, and I fucking don't know. That's all right. It's cool NFT, regardless. I can't even tell you who the artist is. Bad me.
I believe that's MEMCXI, something like that.
Oh,
Probably
right.
Roman numerals for something that I haven't dug into far enough yet.
I swear I've been having tweets, like when I make drafts, I swear sometimes they just disappear. Like, disappear just like my all my friends in my feed every day just don't appear anymore. But that's a different story. We bitch about that lots. Anyways, cool, man. Well,
I
Willie,
bitch about that phone.
I don't know if you have anything else that you need to you would like to chat about. If you got anything,
Not really. Even if I did, I forgot it.
that's fair enough. We can chat about it later if you write it. Make a note. I can't make a note. I dropped my pen. So, yeah. So I guess it's as good a time as ever um, to bring up our guest tonight. If our guest is ready, we'd like to bring up HP LOVEBUX. Got the thumbs up, so I guess we're good to go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. Been pumped. You probably ready a long time ago. Listen to us to blab about nothing. We didn't even
No,
talk.
no, it's good. It's good.
All right, right on. Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming to join us tonight. The first time I saw anything of you was when we had Nick Dimes on a while back, and then you were on my radar, and I'm like, hey man, I gotta look more into HP, and I didn't, and just kind of got this resurgence in the last little while that you've been popping up on my feed. So we remembered we definitely wanted to have you on because you had some great conversation that night.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I was really honored that Dimes picked me to be the crew chief. You know, it's a big responsibility, and we just had an amazing season with Dimes Racing. But the funny thing is, like, I think of Dimes as an artist within the same um, field that I'm in, which we call post Americana. He might even be the leading artist of post Americana at this time. But it was just incredible to see his success and coming in. You know, like you were talking about, you don't never thought you'd need a battery for a mouse. Imagine Dimes. You know, he's like a racer from the '90s suddenly dropped into Web3, and he kicked all our asses. I mean, he just kicked all our asses. It was incredible. So I took a lot of pride vicariously in watching him just take off and leave us all in the dust.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a wild ride to watch, 100% for sure.
And it's funny. Another thing is that I was developing some of these ideas, and when he came along, I was like, "Wow, we are both being guided by something similar. We're both being guided by these icons of pre-internet America, and presenting those icons of pre-internet America almost at face value. It's not cutesy. It's not romanticized. It's captivating though, and it takes you out of the moment into another moment. And I feel like that's the thing about Dimes, is his online presence is very funny, but the work is not comedy. It actually is all about transporting you into another emotional state. And so I'm excited to show the work I've been doing, because if you look on my object page or anything, I've been active on Tezos for, I don't know, my first mint was I think September 9th of 2021. So it's been a year and 5 months or something like that for me. I don't know. I can't do the math. But in August I just stopped. The last piece that kind of like took off was this piece of the General Lee. I was in a space talking about the kind of work I do, and a lot of my work last year was ink drawing inspired by comics and B movie posters. And usually what I'll do is I'll take some pop art iconography and mix it with some fine art iconography, and then with comic book techniques, inks, and whatnot, make them seem that they belong, with the rendering, but then they don't belong, and just have fun with that. And there was a lot of wit and humor in what I was doing. And so in a space once near the end of the summer, I said, you know what HP would do? HP would put the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard jumping over the table from The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. I was kind of like taking a shot at my own self, that I was so predictable that you could predict what my next move would be. And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh my God, I was joking, but that's going to be a killer drawing. And so
And
I
it
did it in 2 days. And as soon as I put it up, someone contacted me and said, what's it cost? I want to mint it. And I think that was the beginning of what I'm doing now. Because the General Lee then, or at least the 1969 Dodge Charger painted orange, became kind of like my avatar in post Americana. It became my alternate self, where I can put myself into any scene through that Dodge Charger. And so I call it Matisse's goldfish. It's like Matisse went through a phase where he put goldfish in every painting. No one knows what the fuck it was all about, but it was like the goldfish were his little thing for a season, for a summer. And like that was sort of where I started. I was like, the General Lee is going to be my muse, my goldfish, you know. And so I put a thread up there of, oh gosh, long story short, what I'm trying to say is that I stopped minting right around the times that Dime took off. I just stopped minting because I got so into this idea of growing into a physical painter, going from an ink artist into a canvas artist. And so what you're going to see in this thread that I posted is 4.5 months of work, just work, physical work. None of the pieces are minted yet. But kind of like the General Lee picture, the right collector contacts me and says, Brittany, flight attendant, I want it. That's it. We'll have a conversation. We'll set the price. It will be minted and sold to that collector. So I'm really just doing mint on demand to the right collector. And so I think the fun thing about this conversation with us is we just get to talk about ideas. I'm not trying to sell anything. And if someone in the room, like, or someone who sees a retweet falls in love with the picture, they can contact me and we'll mint it privately. So that's sort of the wavelength I'm on right now. And yeah, awesome to get a chance to talk about the work with you guys.
That's fucking cool. I was wondering, that was definitely going to be one of my questions, was about these pieces that you've been showing, like the Mustang and what's the fountain one? Is that Evil Knievel or is that
Oh
Robbie
yeah,
Knievel?
that is Evil Knievel.
Okay, it
And
is
I,
Evil Knievel, right?
dude, and that's, I think you could say critically that's my best piece. You know, that's sort of like where composition and rendering hit a perfect sort of balance where when you're holding the physical, it's on a blue piece of paper. It's on a large rectangular blue piece of paper. And just the more you zoom in, the more you see the way the oil pastel kind of smears across the page. And yet, even from 1.5 feet, it looks photorealistic. You know, you have to get very close to realize it isn't photorealistic at all. It's really impressionistic. You know, it's really like in the Matisse sort of vein. But somehow it creates this real illusion of being photorealistic, even from a couple of feet away. And so I think I really found a really good balance there. And it is. It's like, I think in my description that it described how Evil Knievel was unknown to the American public in 1967 when he did this jump. And he famously crashed the jump. You know, he didn't land it. He broke all these bones. And the footage of him crashing made him a star.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it wasn't
people.
the accomplishment of the feat; it was the failure of the feat.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That footage got shown so many times. And everybody said, how did he not die? And then, what better way could you start your career as a daredevil than by showing this epic crash, but you didn't die? And so in this picture, you see him, he hasn't landed the jump yet, but he hasn't failed to land the jump yet. So the beauty of this composition is that this is the moment before he became famous, but it's about 0.7 seconds before it's all over or it's all beginning.
it's
And
kind of Schrodinger's cat in that way, right?
exactly, precisely. And also there's like a lot of like visual irony in the fact that this is Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas in 1967. And this idea that you have these gigantic, towering, leaping fountains in a desert, you know, water doesn't want to jump 30 feet in the air. That's not what water wants to do. But, you know, you make a spectacle and people come. So even the leaping fountains themselves were a spectacle of defying gravity. Then you add another thing that doesn't want to fly in the air, you know, a 500-pound Harley. And so you see both the water and the motorcycle are being thrust upward, you know, against their natural order, and yet it's poetic. It's absolutely poetic. The water looks beautiful suspended like that, and this giant beast of a machine looks beautiful suspended like that. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of this piece.
I don't think anybody will look at that image ever again the same just after that.
No, thank you very much. I mean, it's funny how a
Thanks.
spectacle is. You know, people
Yeah,
come, they'll
sure.
build something in Vegas. We built a miniature version of the Grand Pyramid or Big Ben. Come see. You know, the whole idea of a spectacle. People will come to see it. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
and also I
So,
think the whole like Web3 ish style of like failing to success. You know, like that he became famous by going viral. You know, the crash went viral
back in the day when
back in the
viral,
day.
it wasn't even a thing back then,
He
but
was a pioneer.
100%, 100%. Tweets went out by print and passenger pigeon back then.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm
Um,
really proud of that piece, both from a compositional standpoint and the execution of it. I think it's definitely a high point for me so far.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Dope piece. Can you just give us a little background on you, if you don't
Yeah,
mind? Like, have you always
absolutely.
been an artist? Where did you start out with art? Were you a small town boy?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm not doxxed, but I'm also not like, a secret agent.
Sure.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. I'm definitely not working for the CIA. 100% not a Fed. Don't worry. Just joking. All right. So, but I have told people that where I grew up. So I grew up in Vermont, in really rural, small town. And, part of the thing with Dimes is that I grew up going to our local short track and saw a lot of stock car racing, local short track racing as a kid. I was very into that as a young kid with my brother at the same time that the General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard were on television, and we had the Evil Knievel toys. And so, my childhood, the confluence of Evil Knievel, the Dukes of Hazzard, and going to these short track races, it's like, it's exactly this flashbulb moment of my childhood. All those images coming together, And so when I go back and I dig into those memories, there's a lot there. There's a whole heck of a lot there. And so, I grew up in kind of a nerdy, introspective kid. Spent a lot of my time just in my own imagination with comic books, and just I wasn't really athletic. I wasn't really an extrovert. So I was just one of these kids who just grew up in my own imagination. And I loved to draw and drew on everything. Loved to cover all my books with, you know, pictures from the TV show V. I was obsessed with the show V as a kid, if you remember that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God, I used to draw
Was
the
that
visitors and their logos all over everything. And then in high school, I would draw album covers, whole album covers all over my books, as kids were wont to do in those days. And then at some point around 10, 11 years old, I picked up a guitar, and that was it. Once I had a guitar in my hand, and we started playing in bands, me and my friends in this small town, and I didn't draw. The pencil went down, and it was all about music. And so I ended up eventually moving to the city of Boston, and I've worked the rest of my life as a working musician in the city of Boston, paying my bills through music, which is not an easy thing to do. And yeah, so that's sort of like my demographics, where I come from. I'm not trained in art, but I have a lot of training in imagery, imagination, and practice till you're good at something. Being like an autodidact. And after working decades in music, about 6 years ago, I just had this idea to start drawing, and definitely went back to my roots in comic books. Started looking at a lot of Arthur Adams, Bill Sienkiewicz, and all the comic artists that I liked as a kid, and just being in awe of what they were able to do. And so I sort of set myself a goal maybe 6 years ago. I said I would like to be able to draw comic book style art at a respectable level, in ink. And from where I was started, that seemed like a pretty high bar to reach. But I feel like I worked for a year, 4 years maybe, and I got pretty close. And then when I discovered NFTs, it was like, instead of writing comic books, I started to see it as an opportunity to make statement pieces, a single visual image that mashes up three or four concepts, but then bind it all together with comic style. And so that's what a lot of my work from January of 22 to August of 22 is like. It's very comic book, but also B movie poster, and it's all ink. So that's me. That's where I come from. I'm from a small town, and living in the Northeast almost my entire life. Though we did have a period, my brother and I, when we lived overseas, and that was also really influential on our childhoods, being away from America and then consuming American culture at a distance, and that was around the time that Knight Rider was on TV. We were living in Germany, and I can confirm, this is a little alpha or whatever. What do we call this? Breaking news or whatever. Guys, this is big. This is big. I can confirm that Germany loves David Hasselhoff. Okay, I can confirm this. I know.
I don't know if that's alpha, but
I know it seems a little out of date, but I can tell you that back in '83, they loved David Hasselhoff. It wasn't like they loved him in the '90s. They're like, no, it was immediate, and they loved the show Knight Rider. It was huge in Germany back then, and so it was like
so
that was a great time,
if
to
you
be a
were in
kid.
Germany at that time,
Yeah,
why do you think they loved him so much?
I think the Germans have a fascination with the Old West. They love cowboys. They love the wide open prairies and the plains. They love the imagery of the Old West as seen through Western movies. And of course, they love like the Autobahn and high performance cars. So I think Michael Knight was like literally a cowboy with a high performance car. He merged those two archetypes, and that was it. Slam dunk.
That makes a lot of
Hit the
sense,
Germans.
actually.
Hit the Germans right in two like archetypal sweet spots, and they just loved it.
He gave guys with a hairy chest hope.
Dude, those guys were killing it, from Burt Reynolds. I mean, that's sort of the
Yeah,
theme of like that what I call the gasoline cowboys, like the era of gasoline cowboys was all about that open shirt. And like Michael Knight was kind of the last one. He was like where the gasoline cowboy became metrosexual, where like it kind of turned that corner, into Miami Vice. So,
And Viper.
oh, Viper.
We can't
Viper
forget
was
about
pretty good.
the glory show in the 90s, Viper.
Viper was it was a good try, it was a good try. What about Street Hawk though? Street Hawk was pretty dope.
I don't
I
know
never
if I
saw
ever.
Street Hawk. I think I
Yeah.
saw every episode of Viper, though.
Yeah,
As it
Street Hawk
aired.
was like, it was kind of like, hey, let's do Knight Rider but with a motorcycle.
Oh, that's right. Now I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it had a dope theme song. I think it was Tangerine Dream did the theme song. That was dope. That was about 1985 or so. But yeah, I'm a connoisseur of Gen X culture. Grew up in it. Grew up from the Evel Knievel through all that stuff. And so again, when I'm in my 40s and have a family and whatnot. But when I feel these things and I dig into that imagery, it's not sarcastic. It's not ironic. It's very sincere. It's coming from a very sincere place.
So there is right now, especially with like, you definitely have an automotive kind of thing going on in motors. Like, you didn't really mention that in your growing up. Were you ever a gearhead? Did you ever
Well, I
turn
think
wrenches, or just like the racing from back when you were a
yeah,
child?
going to those races and just being obsessed with all of the drivers and then I think it was like even in being in Germany in those times, you could see a Lancia Stratos drive by. You could see, like, you could see a Ferrari drive by. You'd see 4 or 5 Porsches in a day. So being a kid who was into cars as we were, building model kits and everything, having those years in Germany was just like every day was eye candy. Just on the Autobahn or on the streets, you would see what we would consider, supercars or high performance cars that would be highly exceptional. Here in the States, we definitely wouldn't have seen them in Vermont. They wouldn't have survived a day in Vermont with dirt roads and potholes, and there was no chance. So we got to see in person a lot of these supercars at a time when they were peaking. It's like when the Transformers toys came out and like they chose which cars to make. Those were all cars I'd already seen in person. I was like, oh look, a Lancia Stratos. Oh look, Lamborghini Countach. Oh look, Porsche 935. So it was funny the way that certain cars were iconic for that generation. And yeah, so my brother and we were into cars, but I think I've talked to some of the other artists. We were also like all boys of that generation. We knew every airplane. A-10 Warthog. C-5A Galaxy, F-4 Phantom. Like we just knew every jet plane, every car. It was like our Pokemon. We didn't have Pokemon, but we knew the statistics of every jet and the statistics of every car.
I'm guessing, and you don't have to answer this, but guessing you're in Germany because your father was in the military.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah, because that would be why you would recognize all the airplanes too. Is my
Yeah,
thought on
yeah.
that.
And you could see those exactly because there's Ramstein. There's quite a few air bases in what we called West Germany back then. Exactly, we would see F-4 Phantom, A-10 Thunderbolt, whatever, every single day. Every single day, just zoop. So yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just again, it was sort of like whatever you surround children with, they take it in, like as if it were the lions in the jungle, or we're just like, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. We're just soaking it all in. But anyway, yeah, that's me. I'm like whatever. I'm a Gen X person, but I still haven't reached my creative finale yet. I have so much more to express and think and understand. I just feel like, and I'm just beginning. Because 40 is the new 20, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yes, sir. Damn straight.
I hope so.
Hell
I hope that's
yeah.
what they're saying these days.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can remember very vividly when my dad turned 40. This is old man talk. Are we boring the listeners? God, they must be so bored. All right, a little more old man talk. Then
This is
we'll
what
get
we're
off
here
it.
for. Yes.
And by the way, that's a very handsome donk you have there. Look at that
thank
donk, everybody. Woo.
Snoop Donkey Donk.
Look at that Snoop Donkey Donk.
I don't know if Proteon's throwing us hearts because we're not boring him or because we are boring.
I think we're probably boring him. All right, last bit of old man talk. Ready? Last bit. Sorry, Elmo. I know Elmo's
Right.
like
This ain't gonna be the last
HP.
bit.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. I remember when my dad turned 40. When my dad turned 40, people died at 65.
Right.
But you know what? My dad's still alive. So it was like that whole thing of like, from a kid's perspective. I mean, on my uncle, I'm almost name all my names. All my country uncles from Vermont, they all died at 65 because they all smoked, right? They all smoked like a pack a day, right?
Yeah.
So like I thought, oh, people must die at 65, but now of course it's not like that. So yeah, being a Gen Xer in my 40s now, I'm just like, dude, I've got 20 years to cause more trouble. I'm not even close to done.
Amen.
I'll start growing up then.
I like that. Yeah, no, I know that I live more than some of the fucking 20-year-olds that I deal with. Like I'm telling you, man, they're miserable. I'm like, what? You guys don't do anything? You gotta do
Yeah,
something. Get up,
yeah,
poke.
but on the flip side, I would just say that in my time here in the Tezos art community, I've been blown away by so many 24-year-old, 25-year-olds who are just so fucking kick-ass. And I thought, like, wow, in another reality, we would never have met. In another reality, we would never be friends. But man, I respect what you do, and I respect your persona and your vision so much. So the cool thing about this little NFT experiment or whatever we're all involved in was getting to connect with people from a generation that otherwise probably wouldn't really connect with, and then finding how much we actually had in common. Despite what you might think, man, there's a lot of like 24-year-olds and 25 and 26-year-olds that, man, they blow me away. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's I've said that over and over in this space. We've had that conversation, and even when I met a lot of these people for the first time in Miami for Art Basel, it was this. If it wasn't for this Web3 world, there's no way I would cross paths with most of these people that I talk to on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, if you're not following the legend Tan, I don't know what's wrong with you. Hit that follow button. Come on. Tan is the shit. But yeah, Tan is amazing. I mean, so many people here like that we hang out with on a regular basis. Like, I may be older than some. The only one I'm not older than is Ahern, but I can't be helped. He's a dinosaur. But anyway, like, no, all of our homies here, there's such a cool range of ages, and each of us bringing something. But we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be spending hours and hours doing this thing if we weren't being drawn by something. Maybe that we're all being drawn by the same force, and that's why we magnetize and understand each other. We don't know what this is leading to, but something is drawing us towards this. So anyway, all right. Well, for the fine people and the listeners, I just want to shout out all of you guys. Thanks for taking a minute. But can we look at some paintings? Let's look at some paintings. Let's do some art.
Yeah, please guide
All
us.
right, cool.
It's your
Everybody
show.
in
Run
the
with it.
audience, I posted a mega thread. We're gonna go through it. So get your pointer
Okay,
finger, click on that
just
mega thread. We're
before
going
I'm
we
through
do
each
that,
one of these fucking images. All right.
I'm getting
And
popcorn. Hang on.
dude, get some
yeah,
popcorn. And if you know any like mega Tez whales or hey, ETH whales, any whale you want. But I mean, I think it's actually fun to talk about art, and so that's why nothing you're seeing here has been minted. So I'm not shilling, though I thought
okay,
about it.
I got dibs on one already.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. So anybody in the audience, if there's a piece here that speaks to you, you just hit me up and we'll talk about it. But this is my
Well, I'm
journey.
calling dibs, but I won't say it out loud.
No,
I'll
don't
wait till we get
exactly.
there, and I'll be like, dibs on this one.
Do
So if
not
anybody
say
hits you up
it.
between now and then, just
That's
know
it.
I already got
And then it'll
dibs
be
on it.
done. The tweet will go out, minted to, and that's it. And everyone say, "Wait, well, you didn't even mint." I'm like, "That's right. It's by demand, and it's collector, collector basis. All right, so let's look at this first one.
Okay, hold on. Real quick before we really get into this. Can you describe to us what post-Americana
Okay.
is or means to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So basically, Americana, if you imagine this yearning, this looking backwards to a time that cannot be reclaimed. So if you look at Disney News Magazine, 1968, it's a picture of like a steam choo-choo train. Disney News Magazine, 1969, it's like a paddle wheel steamboat like you'd see on the Mississippi River, okay? But what was really happening in 1968, the assassination of Martin Luther King, the Democratic Convention, unrest in the streets, the peaking of the psychedelic movement, um, Stanley Kubrick's 2001 is in theaters. Pink Floyd records A Saucer Full of Secrets. The space program is ramping up. So it's like the world was looking nothing like anyone had ever seen before, and no one knows what's coming next. And Disney's like, choo choo trains. Choo choo trains, Let's look back to a time when America made sense. Then it's 1969, Woodstock, put a man on the moon. They're like, paddle wheel steamboats. you know, girls in petticoats, red, white, and blue bunting. So it's just like the whole idea of Americana. It's like looking into this past that can no longer be accessed. We're no longer dealing with choo-choo trains. We're no longer wearing hoop skirts. But the imagery is somehow supposed to be comforting and remind us who we are. And I think that effect only really takes place when that time is gone and can't return. So another example is Frederick Remington. He was an artist who did paintings, drawings, illustrations, and sculptures of cowboys and horses. He was friends with Teddy Roosevelt, and his work is in all major museums. He was an illustrator, and his paintings of cowboys and horses, his sculptures are more real than the actual cowboys at this point. More people have studied his imagery and taken that into their minds, and it's like it was so evocative to people in the 1930s to be looking at Remington's work because those times of cowboys are now gone. You can't touch those days. Those days are now over the horizon of remembering, over the horizon of history. So I guess what I'm trying to do is what the horse was to Remington, the muscle car is to me. If you can think about that. What the
Okay,
horse
I'm following
was
you.
to Remington, the muscle car is to me. So my audience are kids who will never have seen what I saw. Kids who never saw, smelled, experienced but I can paint it. I
Kids who
can
don't know
paint.
what burnt nitro fuel smells
That's
like,
it. They don't
and the
know.
difference between that and unburnt nitro fuel.
Thank you. Exactly. And so like and they don't understand like how America could watch this 69 Dodge Charger. This is like very critical. I'm sorry, before I go into that. So post Americana means that the country that created these images, the country that created Evil Knievel, the country that created the Dukes of Hazzard running for 7 seasons, the country that, created these small town, small track race car heroes, these local heroes, that country is fading into the sunset. That country is about to dip over the horizon. You know what I mean? And so we are able to still talk about it. Some of us are able to say, I was there. But the day comes when the last person who was there is gone. So Remington started working in like 86 and he died in the 20s or whatever. So he had 25 years to report on what he saw. But by the time he reached the end of his life, nobody could touch those things anymore. When he started, oh yeah, sure, lots of people remembered that. They could see those things. So I guess I'm trying to talk about what it is to have a grease on your hands from changing a bike chain, right? What does it mean to have that grease on your hands? What does it mean? Whereas someone else is like, what does it mean to drop your iPhone and crack the screen, right? These are two separate realities that are just diverging farther and farther and farther. And I'm sort of like looking at those icons that are already just about to dip below the sunset or already have. But there's plenty of people who were there, who touched it, who saw it, who felt it. But I'm trying to make like what Remington did, a body of work that for the people who will never see it, they can look at my work and feel it, even if they don't know it, and see it, even if they don't understand it. And so I hope that is a little bit of a clarification on post Americana.
Yeah,
I love
I think that's a great explanation.
Yeah, it's like Gasoline Cowboys really summarizes it. You know, what the Cowboys were to Remington, Burt Reynolds in the Cannonball Run is to me. And when you look at all the great Gasoline Cowboys, you have obviously Evil Knievel, you have Burt Reynolds in the Cannonball Run, obviously the Dukes of Hazzard, and then, like I say, by the time of Night Rider, we're already merging into the kind of 1986. Things are changing. Things are getting glossier, glitzier, cleaner. Miami Vice, you don't see them with their clothes dirty, right? You know, it's like things are changing. But the era that I'm talking about, things were dirty. You know, like BMX bike racing, like BMX bike people that were hardcore into that, like getting a face full of dirt, wiping out, eating a berm, and just being covered in like dirt. That's part of it. When you do that, you didn't fail. That actually was part of being within that ethos, right? And I have this, you know, I have a couple paintings that we'll look at. I have this painting of the guy jumping a motorcycle over, you know, a bridge in rural Georgia. And it's like, yeah, if you miss that jump, you're going into the river. You're going to be covered with mud. You're going to be covered with, you know, catfish. I don't even know what all. But you know what? You come out of there with covered with mud and cheering, and your friends will be like, "Dude, you're amazing!" Like you didn't fail when you got dirty, right? So these are sort of the themes of post Americana, if I can. And I have another little bit we can talk about it where I kind of contrast it with vaporwave or retrowave. I think it really is the necessary sequel to retrowave or vaporwave, you know. But I'll bore people with that. Let's look at the paintings.
All right.
All right,
Let's
so
do it.
let's look at the first one, which I'm calling Flight Attendant. So Flight Attendant, if you know are of a certain generation, you recognize it immediately as a still from the Toxic video by Britney Spears, right? But if
Oh,
you're
shit.
not of a generation, you don't see that. And so it's that like sign and symbol, you know, semiotics. It's like this is a sign, and the sign is Flight Attendant, but the symbol is Britney Spears if you know that. But if you don't know that, it's just a flight attendant. And I like to think of Britney Spears as sort of the last, she's sort of one of the last people whose fame, you know, she came to being around the same time as all the AOL CDs were on your front door, right? So she was coming into her first wave of fame about 97, 98, and that was around the same time that the AOL CDs were on everyone's door. So she's sort of the last pre-internet celebrity, you know? And so she didn't come out of the internet world. She rose to fame just as it began. So she is also kind of an icon to me, you know, and all of the various things that were projected onto her, both whether, you know, and then of course everything she's gone through since then. So she's someone that even before it was fashionable, I had a lot of empathy for what she had gone through. I didn't really see her as like a, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, she's just whatever. But I'm thinking this is a human being who's been put through the ringer. She's been put through so much. So I kind of like have a Britney theme in some of my work, but it's always very much about the humanity of who she is. And so in this piece, you just see her kind of like the downward gaze, the toxic video, but you also see kind of like, it's like a little more vulnerability. And I think from a technical standpoint, the thing I'm proud of is there's a frame in the frame, which is a kind of an odd choice. And then like the backlighting on the hair, kind of the light coming from behind the hair. I feel like, you know, for an absolute beginner at painting, I think I did a pretty good job on this one. So, and also I think that Britney Spears is to many people what the Dukes of Hazzard were to me. It's like the generally of their childhoods. So I think she has a tremendous resonance with a lot of people. So yeah, this was one of the first pieces I did when I, you know, went on my quest to become a painter. So there it is.
Which some people would say portraiture and faces are one of the hardest things to draw, but
Oh,
that's where you started.
well, you know, luckily because of my work in inks and comics, I took 2 or 3 years ago, I just took about 6 month intensive just portraiture and faces and worked my ass off because as a kid, that was something I was terrible at. So yeah, like worked on. All right, let's look at the next one. The next one, I call it, and notice, isn't it nice that all these things are physical and that you can see them on the canvas? You know they exist. Because another thing is the AI
Sure.
applications, they actually make portraiture really boring because it's so easy. So these
Yeah.
are, not AI. And so this is, I call this maternal Brittany at age 39 in the style of Botticelli. So this is like, what if Brittany was never famous? What if she was never a celebrity? What if she just lived, had kids, and was just a normal person, right? She'd probably be a little more full figured, fuller in the face and the cheekbones. She wouldn't look so like beaten to death and stressed out by fame. So it kind of like Botticelli, is famous for drawing full-figured women and not needing to be a waif to be sexual and appealing and attractive. So this is sort of like my maternal Brittany in the style of Botticelli was the name of this one. Are people following along? Are you following along in the audience?
Absolutely.
Show me some fucking hundreds if you're following along. Come on, audience. Super Donut. Come on, Butternut. Thank you, Nicholas Dimes. Thank you. This is edumacation. You're getting an edumacation right here, bro. All right, thanks, Empress
Super
Trash.
donut?
Appreciate you. I know I just been like, I just hope we haven't been boring the listeners. I never want to bore the
Wait,
listeners.
did you say butternut's down there? Can you see him?
Yeah, Super Donut. Super Donut is the new Butternut. You remember Butternut Deluxe? He's now called Super Donut.
Oh no, there's another butternut around here. And
No,
he
fuck.
and he's shadow banned.
He's
For
shadow
real.
banned.
He's for real shadow banned.
Oh well,
He's been
Butternut
winning in
Deluxe
one.
is the only Butternut I know about, but I'll meet the other Butternut someday. But
All right.
anyway, thanks everybody. I don't want to bore you with old man talk. All right, so let's look at this one. So then, following the Brittany, maternal Brittany, we see the sort of Matisse's goldfish. This was like trying to show the lines of the General Lee or the lines of the '69 Charger, like something about where the back window meets the back fender. Everybody knows it, right? Something about that moment where the back window meets is where it all happens. It's where the magic of this design happens. And I was thinking a lot about Matisse and using my oil pastels, trying to get uh, a language of strokes and blending that was very Matisse inspired. So then I sort of like took the orange Dodge Charger on as my little muse, my little goldfish. So this one is actually the physical piece is in the collection of J.R. Hoffman already. So sorry, friends, you can't collect this one. And Hoffman is also the owner of the digital NFT of the first General Lee piece I did. So big shout out to
So is he
Hoffman.
on the physical and the NFT or
I haven't minted it yet, but when I mint it, what I'll do with this post Americana collection, at some point I'm going to mint everything, But so I'm just showing you this. But yes, when this is minted as an NFT, he will have it. But right now he does own the physical.
okay, I like that. I like that you're not like selling them separately. You're not like,
No, no,
hey,
and
you can have the physical. I'm gonna sell the NFT
no,
sometime.
no, no, no. They'll be together. They'll be together. And it's sort of like I sent a tweet a week or two ago, just being a smart ass, just saying like, are you selling art or selling NFTs? And of course the answer is both. Like it's one of those fake questions, right?
Horrible,
But in
right?
but on the other hand, it's like, well, it's a fake question, but also think about it, right? Maybe just think about it, right? And the NFTs is like the means by which art can be sent globally and transacted with instantaneously around the world, which is fucking incredible. But also just like think about the art too. Think about the art just as art. So then this one here, this next one, Forest Encounter. I think this was a first piece when I was just like, okay, shit, I might be onto something. So if you zoom in on this one closely, you'll see that every little segment of this car is like a small abstract painting. So you can go to like the brake light, the headlight, the reflection on the right hood, the reflection on the left hood, the reflection of the center. Each one, if you zoom in, is like a micro abstract painting.
Dude, that's so cool.
You see what I
That's
mean? But then
that's
when you
great.
pull back, it looks pretty three-dimensional. Like it has a sense of depth, right? And
I think
so
I think all of that really captures like the glossiness of what that black should be.
exactly, exactly. I also thought about like calling this car is black, because the funny thing about it is that your eye knows this car is black, but look how little black I used in this picture, right?
Yeah.
It's
Because it's
shiny.
all the reflections. So
Yeah, the
when
the
I
the
yeah,
real
you go.
beauty in a deep black paint job is that you don't see black.
Exactly. Thank
It's
you.
really weird. Like
Thank you.
like
That's
and
exactly it.
it's really it's really black is one of the on a paint job. Black is like one of the easiest ones to really tell a good job from a bad job because it's so hard to get a good black paint job. Like it
Yep.
takes so much work
Yep.
and so much time and so much sanding. It's just like incredible.
Yeah, when I look at this, to go into the like semiotics of this piece, when I look at this piece, I mean, I wonder if we had people up and just say like, like, what do you think is happening 5 minutes before this and 5 minutes after this, right? The story that you would tell if you had to tell the story of what happened 5 minutes after this, Because for me, when I see this picture, I can imagine what happened next. I can imagine where the person who encountered this car, where they might have been going, what they might have been doing. But again, I think that's really totally filtered by your generation and like how you react to this image. Someone else, it might be like, wow, they might not have experienced it, but like I told you, I grew up in the woods. So if I saw this car in the woods, I would know what was going down. I think I would think there would be some revelry nearby. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there would be music. There'd be like Judas Priest screaming for vengeance would be blaring out of the car. So it's like there's like a whole like a chain of associations that I have, but again, someone else may have a totally different association. So just leave it like, what would you feel if you ran into this car in the woods? Why is this car in the woods? But anyway, I'm really proud of this one, and this one, like, I think was one of the first ones that gave me that feedback of like, oh, okay, you're getting somewhere. This journey you're on has coherence. Like it is going somewhere. And then like I think if you look in this one up close at the bushes, my Matisse sort of style is very obvious there. The yellows and the greens. It was just like very much like obviously borrowing Matisse stuff, not borrowing, maybe just internalizing. I really wanted to come at it with like, can I get my own version of a Matisse touch, which is like when you're moving these colors around, a lot of times you don't have. I guess I could explain this better on the next piece. So this was like on Trouble in Turn 4. It's like about growing up, going to stock car races, and like the beauty of it, and Dimes knows all about this. It's like nobody goes there to see the cars crash, right?
Eh,
Yeah,
But
they
actually,
eh.
actually,
that's
right?
why
Actually,
people watch
Actually,
NASCAR.
don't they? Right? Isn't part of it that these people are in mortal danger and like you're watching them, and when one guy spins out, takes another guy out, third guy goes over the bank, right? I mean, those are the heart-stopping moments, and of course, people are thrilled by those moments. So it's sort of like Trouble in Turn 4. Like one guy's, oh, he's spinning, oh, and then, oh, and just all of a sudden the whole field is off the track, seeing who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. And so again, I really visualize this like a piece by, Matisse or even Monet, of like, if one of those guys could just sit there and paint a small town stock car race or whatever, what would they do? Because in that style, it's not trying to be realistic. Like most of these cars are just lumps of color; they're not realistic cars. But it's like the reflection pattern on the windshield of the bottommost car. I'm very proud of that. It just has a real Matisse sort of chunkiness to it. I think the clouds, the sky, the horizon, super proud of the way that all came together. But these colors are done in layers, So like I'm putting down a little blue, a little green, walk away, a little purple, walk away. Because if you push down too hard, it's almost like pressing save. It's like you're committing to that color. But if you can let it build slowly, and then finally when you get the right blend, then you bear down harder, and it kind of pushes it into the the paper, the canvas, and then you're done. You really can't take it back. So these colors were built up slowly, and I think that's why there's so many variations in tone. And I think that that's what makes the piece really fun to look at, is that the cars are not realistic. It's not really a realistic picture, but tone and brushstroke and texture make it really just fun to look at.
How long does a piece like that take you to do?
Man, this was like, the basic architecture of the piece was a day or 2 days, but man, getting to the final colors was 4 or 5, 6 more days because I just had to work really slowly. So I'd say all in all, this was 6 or 7 days of work. Not all day, but hours, sitting down to work could be 2 to 3 hours a day, because I was like, I'm trying to teach myself this medium coming from black ink and trying to work with color. And so, yeah, I worked real slow on this one. And yeah, again, it's not the greatest painting in the world. Some would say that like it's just like a painting that would be in like a kid's bedroom. It's not. Some would say it's not high art at all. It's just like cool picture of race cars, bro. But I'm down with that, actually. I'm actually down with that. If my piece can give you like a feeling that you're in like a kid's bedroom and this is like something that an actual kid would put on their wall, I'm like, shit, that's it. That's great. Isn't that what I'm trying to dig back into? That's exactly what I'm trying to dig into in my own memories. So yeah.
If you haven't listened to the Kelly Telfer interview that we did, I think you
Oh, of
should.
course. Yeah, I saw those prints. I was like,
I
wow,
think you should.
this guy and
It's
I
on
need to hang
YouTube.
out.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one is a Times Square hot dog vendor, and this was like taking the concept that I did in the forest encounter, where I took this photo. I was in Times Square. I took this photo of the hot dog vendor, and then I tried to break the image down into 20, 30 tiny mini abstract splotches of color, and then build the image back. So that when you first look at it, you don't know what the hell you're looking at. It takes a while to figure out that the dark mass in the center is a person, right? And then slowly, if you kind of get the right angle, you see the old thing come to life, that you're in Times Square standing behind a guy making hot
I was
dogs.
so focused on the chair, I didn't see the guy
Right, you see
standing in the
so the
middle.
guy's made of negative space. Like he's made of nothing.
I got to move my
But
phone
he's the
out further so I
darkest.
can get a little.
He's in the center of the image and he's made of nothing because it's painted on black. So he's nothing. He's no pigment. But once you realize that his back is to you, and he's in front of the hot dog cart, and then the blue and yellow umbrellas are above him, and then all the Times Square billboards, and the people, and then the steam coming out of the, manhole next to him, and the folding chair. It's like all the details of the shot are there, but no details are there. It's just basically abstracted. And so again, this was me getting into my Matisse sort of zone, where I'm trying to create these abstractions that bring you to a place, but it's not all at once that you see where you are.
So why so pronounced on the chair then?
What's that?
I feel like the chair is the only thing that has some detail
Yep.
to it. So why?
Well, I think you have to give somebody a key, like something that they can begin to put the scene together. Yeah, exactly. The chair is just like really ordinary, and it's very white, So like the center of the figure is this black where I don't have any pigment at all. And then like the chair is very white, and I've saturated the pigment almost to like having no personality at all. But yeah, I think that's very true. The chair is the one thing that seems just kind of like a physical object. The rest is just impressions. But yeah, no, I like that. I think the chair kind of is your anchor point. Like if I didn't call it Times Square hot dog vendor, might take you a while to get to what you're looking at. So, but yeah, I dig it. Dig the chair.
When I first looked at this piece, this is, I mean, I will say that I saw it all right away because it's exactly how I look at stuff. Like I think it was Fendel, or we had Mark Fendel on a couple of weeks ago, and I had never looked at his PFP up close, and I always thought it was one thing, but then when I looked at it up close, I'm like, oh, this totally isn't a bird wearing a hat. It's actually a female. It's a female's face, and but it's like this Times Square piece, like it just speaks to how I look at things. Like I looked at that right away, and I was like, yeah, I see what it is. Busy, guys right there in front of his cart, and all the people, the busyness, and I thought that was very cool.
Yeah. And how often do you think this
I
guy?
wouldn't have got it if it weren't for the name, like you said.
How often do you think this guy gets to sit down? Not very much.
That's why I love the chair.
So the chair is just
like unused.
Yeah, he's like, remember me?
I was really thinking about
the chair?
that. I'm like, yeah,
I'm over here, guy. The guy's like, no, dude.
Yeah, that chair speaks some volumes in this piece. I dig it.
Thank you. I'm glad. When I saw that you zoomed in on the chair, I'm like, you get it. You fucking get it. All right, now the next one, this is definitely like old school HP. This is like, I figured since I did the General Lee jumping over the Da Vinci Last Supper, which I didn't include in this little thread, but you can go find it. I had to do one where I directly put the General Lee into like Monet's gardens, Giverny gardens that Monet painted so many times. And so this one is definitely a little bit more just just me having fun. But it's on a pretty sizable canvas. So, and this was just like the other one. To lock in those colors, I had to work very, very slowly. You don't just paint something gray. Like you go over it gray, then you come back and you go over it pink, then you go over it a little bit of white, then you add some blue, and you keep going slowly until it starts to saturate. And then whatever your last color is, then you push down and kind of smear it across. And then hopefully, if you did your calculation right, that final color is what you wanted. And so this piece, it took a long time to build up these colors. If I'd gone and just say, I'm going to make the orange, it wouldn't look nothing like this, because that orange you see in the car is actually pink, is actually yellow, is actually deep red. It's actually 15 different colors to make orange, but I think
I love this piece.
yeah, this is pretty iconic, I think, for what I'm trying to say with Post-Americana, because again, if you see this picture, you say, oh, but again, if you click into reality, what is going to happen in 5 seconds? That car is going to be waterlogged. That beautiful flowers are going to be churned up. The mud is going to get churned up. It's going to be an absolute dirty, slimy, muddy disaster in 2 seconds. But right here, we're the 2 seconds before that happens, and it just looks poetic, right? So yeah, I guess this is me like paying back the debt to Matisse that I'm obviously borrowing, and Monet I'm obviously borrowing so heavily from their style. But I want to say, like, dude, it's just me, HP, just barging into your scene and being like, I'm here now. You wouldn't mind if I borrowed your brush strokes. Oh no, you wouldn't mind if I borrowed. Oh sure, you wouldn't mind if I borrowed this. And then a fun thing about this, I think that people like, is the reflection of the car in the water. I think that kind of makes it, because it's not optically.
I didn't even notice
Yeah, you
that
see
until
that,
you said
and it's
that.
not
That's
optically
funny.
correct, but it just makes it gives the sense that you really are seeing something that's high and about to be low. Like that object and that reflection will be on a collision course, and they'll eventually hit each other. It's just a matter of time.
And I hear the horn.
Well, of course, it just goes without saying for everybody in the room that obviously my version of the 1969 Dodge Charger, you'll observe, has no Confederate flag on it whatsoever. So while I'm borrowing the archetype of this car, I'm definitely not borrowing it whole cloth. I'm making it my own. Like I say, it's my avatar. Like, it represents my persona, like, not because I love that show or think it's great, but I think that show is emblematic of the moment in which I was a child.
Yeah. Okay, so we hear a horn that sounds like a kazoo singing a tune.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be fun if you had to have a signature horn tune, what it would be. I don't even know what my signature horn tune would be. That's a fun question. All right, then.
It definitely wouldn't be a Toyota Corolla, that's for sure.
So next we have the Evel Knievel leaping the fountain, which I think we talked about a lot. But if everybody's following along, I hope you're following along. Yeah, just zoom in on it. I think it really is a piece that the more you zoom in on it, you see. It's like, I think that's the fun thing with art, and in some ways the fun thing with music is when the magician does a trick and you see how it was done and you're still mind blown. So I think it's like with this piece, I feel like I pulled off that elusive trick that you want to do, where it's just pigment smushed over paper. It's not magic, but you just keep looking at it and it keeps feeling like magic. Then I sort of I did a sort of a sequel piece where I decided, what if you took the Evel Knievel type figure and you gave it no background? So there's no way to estimate how far he is from his jump point or his land point. And so this one is still sort of a work in progress, but you'll see by the end of the thread that I did the BMX equivalent of this piece, recently, and I'm pretty happy with it. I hope everyone's not bored. You guys aren't bored looking at art, are you? Nicholas Dimes, you still awake? And he's still there. Are people bored looking at art? Is it cool? Is it cool?
If they're bored, they're in the wrong spot.
All right, Lexi, is it cool? Lexi Hearts, is it cool that we're talking about art? All right, cool. I just want to make sure.
Okay, you got me back now.
Yeah, Willie's
Okay.
back.
All right, Willie.
We
Sorry,
got you
we
back,
missed you.
Willie.
No, yeah, I wanted to go back to the previous piece,
Go.
the General E. I love that piece. I didn't notice the car as the reflection at first. For some reason, my eyes weren't focusing right, and I was seeing it as like a bird of paradise on the side of the bank. Just because we have a ton of bird of paradise around here.
Beautiful.
But once you pointed it out, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. So
yeah, I had a lot of fun.
I just really love that piece.
Kind of like with oil pastels, like I think it lends itself to being able to do kind of blurry textures, and so yeah, once I kind of got into my zone there, I've had a lot of fun with reflections, vertical reflections, especially in water. But in this, like if you dip down to like this one where I have like the number 11 car, this was just me fucking around because I want to do a more like serious set of pieces based on the color schemes of certain stock cars. And I felt like Daryl Waltrip's Mountain Dew car to me was like very iconic.
Yeah, that's a great car.
Just the colors,
so
it's so good, right?
I think I missed the one before that, the blank Evel Knievel.
Yeah, this is just like me. Like after I did the other one, I thought, okay, what about a motorcycle where you can't see how far he is off the jump or how far he has to land? You just see him in that unlimited space.
But that's still oil pastel.
That
on
one, let
canvas.
me look closely. That one, I think you will laugh,
ink?
But I believe that is crayon. That is literally Crayola.
I thought you were gonna say
Crayola crayon. And then I black and white. I just took all the color out. So I made it monochromatic. So this one is not, there is a physical drawing of this, but the physical drawing, I was just sitting there with crayons, and I was like, what if I could make a piece of crayons and make the chunkiness of the crayons give it the illusion of texture and depth, instead of like making it look imperfect. So but that's more of a sketch. I did I did a bicycle version of that recently where you sort of see the person at extreme height. And I have another one coming. I have another BMX theme one coming in the next week or so where I take this idea of the person doing the jump, but there's no way to measure how high they are. There's no way to measure where the ground is. So I have another one of those coming down the pipeline. But this is my first sort of playing with that idea.
Yeah, I like it. It reminds me of a piece I haven't hung it at my new house, but a Mario Andretti piece that was hanging in my old house. Huge black canvas with just like a little bit of gold on it.
Nice.
But you can totally make out that it's a 78 Lotus
nice.
F1 car with Mario Andretti and
awesome. The old Mario Andretti, Daryl Waltrip, like these are names that were said often in my house, when we were kids, right? These were just like our cowboys, right? They were our cowboys. So so then under that we have like from my culture where I grew up in Vermont, we had one guy who was the guy, and his name was Beaver Dragon. And he was just a local guy, and he was just the most sincere, down-to-earth person, and he just won a lot of races. So to us, he was the realist, and he really is the realist. He went on to, just have an amazing career and just always been a small town guy from Vermont. Never really took him, never was high on his own image, but he just really earned the respect of so many people in the area where I grew up. And so he was our hero. So I did this portrait of him with a ballpoint pen, gearing up to a piece that I'm looking at it right now in my studio, and it's going to be like a pretty high production value portrait of Beaver Dragon. And I'm going to see, I'm in touch with some of the people back in Vermont, and I'm going to see if we can put this image someplace special. So find a home for it, because I really think I'm not the only person who grew up with this guy as like a folk hero. And that's what it is. When I started working with Dimes, I was like, well, Dimes, I get you, because we had heroes like you when I grew up. So that's why it's so easy for me to understand where you're coming from. Because, if you're not in our area, you might not know Beaver Dragon, but he was just the greatest. And so I've got a whole bunch of pieces I'm working on using him, because I think he is that kind of like stoic character. He's not show off. He's not fancy, but he won a lot of races and just a great.
But also with that name, he's
Oh,
slaying.
dude, he's slaying. He's like, oh man,
Absolutely.
there's some
That's a
interviews.
that's a killer
No, it's
name.
a great name, and he was. If you hear him tell his life story, oh my God, it's full of the funniest anecdotes. Yeah. He definitely lives up to his name.
Yeah,
All right.
Nicholas Don's here. I had to come up and just co-sign that and just give a big shout out to Beaver Dragon. Hey, shut the fuck up, dog.
Wow, Mr. Dimes, really an unexpected treat.
Welcome, Nicholas.
Hey, thank you. I want to come up, say big shout outs to Beaver Dragon. Also, HP Lovebucks. This has been one of the greatest WXBK show I've been to so far. This has been real nice. You might have been boring some of these other cats, but not me.
No, thanks, Mr. Dimes. I appreciate it because it's been I think you and I have both had a great season going from fall into winter. You were just making so many great pieces and hitting those big sales numbers where I was in my garage painting. And like, this is my first time to show everybody what have you been up to for 4.5 months. So I feel like I got to ride high with you. And I also look back on what I did, and I feel really inspired by my own progress and my own growth. So yeah, man, it's been awesome. It's been a great season. The bear market was tumbling to the very bottom, but we were having the time of our lives.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I've been again. We've been to many bear markets together, and this
Hmm.
won't be the last one. So
No, not at all. Yeah, and we got more to talk about too when you and I get together on a space and talk about what's coming up for Dimes Racing. But
you remember that time back in '98 where all we were living off of was that big case of Cracker Jacks.
yeah, I remember that. And we had some of that spray cheese, and we had a carton of Ritz crackers about 2 years old from Costco. Man, we stretched that out about a week, I think. Each little spray cheese, like, and just oh no, less, and we're just, man, those were good times. You don't know the good times until they're gone, right?
Oh,
That's
dude,
right.
I'm dying over here.
Man, yeah, we
Spray,
washed it
spray cheese.
washed
Oh,
it down with some Sunny Delight
man.
and a little Southern Comfort, and that's the way we roll.
You don't mix them in a glass together because you got no glass, right? You had to take a swig of Sunny Delight, and then you had to have a swig of.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nicholas, thank you for coming. I don't want to shout out Empress Trash to you. I'm a big fan of Empress Trash. I actually have one of her pieces, which is Paris Hilton as a half-eaten papaya, and that definitely is right on the same vibe as a lot of my Britney pieces. So big respect. And click.dev, the main man, Jen, slaying the AI world, animated AI Machina, hello myself, and man, all the other people, Lexi, Laser Lou, Super Donut, Rod, Malicious Pain, blah blah, all you people, really, thanks for taking the time to listen to this. Like I say, are you selling NFTs or are you selling art? Chances are you're doing both. So I'm having a fun just talking and like looking at the work together. And yeah, like someday, like I say, people reach out to me privately, mint these to you. You can own the physical, or by June when I feel like I've hit what this journey has been about, I could mint everything and just leave it up and people will buy when they're ready. So, however it goes, the journey of the work, the vision I'm trying to articulate is the thing. And when people come into tune with that and they see it, and then they have that moment, dude, I have to have that piece, then that's it. That's
I
where
think
it's
it's
at.
I, I think it's a great approach. I think it's kind of a unique approach in this space. Um, but I think it really shows that you hold the value into your piece by not minting it almost. You know what I mean? Like by especially keeping those mint counts down. A lot of people can, mint 8, 10 things a day, and I don't know, sometimes you start to get a little overwhelmed. Not that they're not great, but it can be a little overwhelming. So I think that, yeah, you can definitely hold your own value that way.
Yeah, and it's like it's a real-time journey. I told people back in August, I'm like, I think I'm going to teach myself to be a painter. I think I'm going to learn to paint on canvas, and it could take me 8 months just to become mediocre, right? It's a journey, but I think inviting people on that journey with me, and then like when there is a hit, when I do get something right, we all celebrate. We're all just, damn, that's excellent. That's actually the thing you visualized 4 months ago. You're actually getting there. And like, if someone wants to collect it, great. But I mean, dude, look at it's personal growth. It's like, what's more valuable than personal growth? I'm getting my own pay just in expanding my own skills and my ability to articulate something deep inside myself that I'm trying to get out. So, man, the sales are not the main thing right now for this collection. Another thing that's really fun with this collection is when you hang up these paintings all together in one room, the way they all play off each other and vibe with each other, that's pretty amazing. So, one of my visions is to actually have this whole set, which I think it'll take me at least to June to complete, have all these paintings, the physical art, like actually hang in an IRL gallery all at once and let people walk through and see it. And then once that takes place, if then I open up for bids or for minting or whatever, that's the shit. Because then people have encountered the work kind of face to face. And when they buy the NFT or buy it, they're saying like, no, I met that piece. I want that piece in my house. It's a little more like that direct encounter. So we'll see. For now, I'm just excited to share with you guys like the story of what I'm. Oh, fuck. Mike Nash is here. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. No, fuck it.
No.
But anyway, like, I'm just excited to share the journey with you guys because, yeah, I mean, this is, to me, I'm super excited about where it's all headed. And I'll have a great crew. I have just so many great homies here in the space that we talk every day. We kind of inspire each other. So it's one of those corny ass things where like maybe the treasure is the homies we met along the way.
Absolutely. We're gonna put that in a coffee mug. I like that.
Dude,
that
it sounds so inspiring right now.
I feel warm.
Me too.
Dude.
I expect to see that coffee mug.
Oh, look at that.
That's the next GM.
Tintin, maybe the friends we met along the way, Tintin is not about the warm fuzzies. No, she's not feeling the warm fuzzies.
I was gonna say like, and it's a big thing like why Willie and I like doing these spaces. Like, when you're asking, you're boring, am I boring you people? It's like they all stick around. They know why they come to this space. And I think hearing directly from you about why and what you've done and what you're doing, that's so bloody important. And I mean, if people weren't inspired by what you were doing to begin with and even had an interest in you to begin with, hearing you talk tonight, if that doesn't like get them fully on, into you, I don't know what would, right? Like it's very important.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like the work has a message. I'm the spokesman for the work. But in the end of the day, like, yeah, exactly. It's all about the idea behind the work. And if people can vibe with it, man, I'm psyched. I'm psyched if somebody wants to like just leave a comment and say like, that's awesome, or retweet it. Like, that's fine for me. Every way you want to interact. Like, man, I'm not shilling, like even like Versum has a thing item for item. And I was like, oh, I could go on the night train and I could mint a Versum piece and I could get everybody in the audience, hey, dudes, buy my one Tez mint on Versum, and I might sell 10 or 12 of them right there in the space. But I'm like, yeah, but is that really what you're doing? No, that's not what you're doing. You're on your way to something different. You're really like the most important thing you can do in this space is just let people hear from you, like the sincerity of what you're trying to do. The honesty of like, you can see when I fuck up and you can see when I get one right. Like, like I'm not coming at you saying I'm the greatest painter. You should fucking believe in me. I'm saying I'm trying and look, I'm growing, dude. You should believe in me because of that, not because I already am great, but because look how far I've come, and I'm not going to quit. So, that's really what the message is.
Awesome.
All right, let's look at a few more. I think I want to talk about 4 more pieces, then we'll get out of here. Let's look at or at least we'll talk about something else. But let's look at the Mustang one. I think the Mustang one, it's called I Want Candy. It's a red car for those of you who don't know about cars. It's a Ford Mustang. It's a 1964. Yeah,
candy apple red.
Exactly. So with this piece, like I took this photograph. So this is a photograph that I took of a car I leaned up real close to the headlight so that the foreshortening of the car would be very exaggerated, that the headlight would be very close to you and the other headlight would seem like it was a mile away. So I set up the camera shot to get this very distorted perspective, and then I put down the camera picture and painted it from that. So it's referenced from a photograph that I took, and had a lot of fun doing it, just like with the other pieces, building up the colors really, really gradually. And to get this sort of like metal effect and the reflective effect of the red, I feel like, man, it took me a while, but I got it just where I wanted it.
So is
And
is this the first one that you've used like a reference on?
no, almost everything I do is from reference, and that's coming from comic books. Like if I want to draw something, what I'll do a lot of times, this comes from comic books as well, is you like Google search 4 or 5 pictures of the thing you want, leave those open on your desktop, and sit down and draw it. That way your eye can flick up and say, how far apart are the headlights? Oh yeah, that far. What's the fender look like? Oh yeah, that. Like you have something to glance up, look down, glance up, look down, glance up, look down, so that you can draw with some accuracy. It's very hard to memorize the proportions of a car in detail. So yeah, when you're drawing, I think almost all artists use reference. You have something that you're looking at that guides. Oh yeah, that's how far that building is from that building, or that's what this 3/4 perspective would look like on an automobile. Because there's perspective, foreshortening, and like, I mean, when I was doing comic books, I'd be drawing a character and I'd be like, let me just Google any human being in that pose. And when I find the person in the pose, I can now draw my character who looks nothing like that person, but I can see like how the arm looks and where's the knee in proportion to the other leg. You just sort of can, in your mind, see the construction. So yeah, almost, I think everything here is done from some kind of reference.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Times Square is a reference from a photograph. The Giverny Gardens with the General Lee is referenced from obviously Monet's painting, and then like I think I found a stock photo of a General Lee jump, and I just merged them in my mind and then painted them as if they belonged together. The Evil Knievel is referenced from probably a screen grab from one of the films of the jump, and I just put the screen grab up and I just like keep looking back to it, checking how accurate I'm being. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, drawing from it. And then sometimes you can go off, like sometimes you want to make your picture look more abstract than the real thing, and sometimes you want to make it look more real than the real thing. So yeah, it's your choice how much you want to be guided by the reference, but I think it's very important to have that. You need something that's guiding you, I think, unless I can draw straight out of my head. But a lot of things I'm trying to do, I want them to have that verisimilitude of proportion, where how far, what was the angle on Britney's hat in the Toxic video, like
Right.
what was that angle? Because those larger construction lines, those speak really loudly. And I mean, Tantan and I have talked about it, that like the sight line, how your eye travels through an image, to me that's 80% of the job, is establishing those sight lines. So with I Want Candy, it's like that's you would call that 3-point perspective. It's really hard to draw a 3-point perspective by eye, because it's stretched out both horizontally and vertically, but I think I was able to, from the photograph, really make it look real, make it look like it's coming at you. These are tricks that comic book artists use. All right, so then the one underneath it, it's sort of like, oh yeah, we should go back to the candy. Exactly, candy apple red, right? It's like when the advertisers are trying to sell you candy, or the advertisers are trying to sell you cars. Like, it's really kind of the same. It's like that mouth watering. I tried to get that glossy vibe, where like you see the car and like you want to eat it. It's like so rich and red. So yeah, I was definitely trying to evoke that.
I was going to say, it was one of the rare colors that the Mustang came in that wasn't god awful. Because I mean, it came in those puke greens and the puke yellows,
Burnt orange and burnt browns.
right?
Yeah, real earth tony and like an earth tony green. Yeah.
It's one of the
Yeah,
only cars that if you change the color when you restore it, you're actually adding value.
you're helping. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah, well, Ford, I mean, honestly, Ford, they started off with like any color you want, as long as it's black, So I don't think Ford was ever killing it in the inventive colors department. So yeah, red is a badass color for that vehicle. All right, so then let's see. Then the next one is this jump, and this is referenced from a YouTube video where somehow watching Evil Knievel videos, I got this video where this was just like 5 or 6 years ago that there was a bridge collapse in Georgia, and the town just left the bridge broken for over a year. And some local kids were like, well, let's get our dirt bikes and jump the bridge, right? And they filmed it and they uploaded it, to social media. And then the people in the town wanted to know who it was, and they were going to charge them with some crime. But I mean, honestly, this is that spirit of post Americana. Like these kids still had that spirit that they saw the broken bridge as something to turn into beauty. Like the city didn't want to turn it back into a bridge, so they turned it into something else that was beautiful, and they took the time to film. And so I just like sort of screen capped what I thought was the most harmonious composition, and then I painted it from that reference. So I think in this piece, like, the way I've cropped it, the sight line going up to the bike, the sight line coming down to the bike, trying to catch that moment where it's right in the apex of the jump. And then if you
Well,
look up close, all the paint work. I mean, this was many, many days to get the clouds, to get the leaves. Oh my God, it was many days of work.
it's like this really great landscape piece, and then there's a dirt bike in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, this is a great
Exactly.
landscape piece. And it's like, oh wait, there's more going on here.
Yeah, yeah. But if you look up
Now
close, you
now
can,
this is speaking to my to my
yeah,
90s X Games side.
exactly, exactly. And I think that was the fun piece is like, you can compare this. Actually, this one compares well to like a Norman Rockwell sort of color palette. And so, yeah, it's like Norman Rockwell if there were dirt bikes, right? It's a bucolic scene, and then, phew. All right,
Go to,
then,
go to your grandma's house and you're like, Grandma, that's a beautiful painting you got above the mantel there. Is that a fucking dirt bike?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then the idea of like rural sports, it's sort of like it's like people in the country will make their own fun. I know because I grew up that way. People in the country, if you leave that bridge broken long enough, someone will turn it into something fun. So I think that's just like a classic sort of mindset where I grew up as well. Then we're down to like the last couple. So this one with the BMX bikes, I felt like this was kind of my first attempt to do a full canvas in acrylic, which is totally different, and it really fought me a lot. It was like painting with the glue. Every time I tried to move, it like became stuck. I'm like, I can't move this color, and that's how acrylics work, right? So in some parts of this picture, it's called Can You Feel This? You see stuff that looks liquidy and sort of melty. And I want to tell you that didn't happen by accident. It was a ton of work to make acrylics act liquidy and melty. They do not want to act that way. They want to act stiff. So like when I look at this piece and I see any part that looks like peyote art, I see a lot of lines in it that remind me of like peyote art.
Yeah,
And I'm
this is
like,
very
dude, I'm really,
psychedelic.
isn't it? It looks so much
Yeah,
like
I love
mescaline
it.
or peyote. And it just looks like, man, I'm really proud of those. Any of those lines that look like it's drippy or runny, believe me, it wasn't drippy. It wasn't runny. That was me making it appear to be drippy or runny, right?
So
So
I've been
yeah,
wanting to ask you about this piece for a while, actually, for at least a couple weeks or so. Um, is this a screen basically like is your reference a screenshot from the movie Rad on this one?
it isn't. And that's the funniest thing because another person asked me that too. But the reference is just a vintage photo, like a vintage photo of a BMX race. It wasn't from the movie Rad. But man, if you go searching, like there's a lot of people who covet vintage BMX photography. And when you go looking at it, oh my God, everyone looks like a masterpiece. Just the composition and the sense of like movement and space. So I just picked one that spoke to me and used it as my reference. But man,
Am,
there's hundreds of vintage BMX photographs that are just magic,
am I hearing some alpha
unbelievable.
that there may be a new synthetic vintage BMX photographer in the space soon?
Oh shit!
Is that some
I hope
alpha?
not. I hope not. But it could happen. Anything's possible. But I'm going to corner the market on semi-abstract BMX physical paintings, though. So nobody, you can't. I'm already there, so nobody can move into my turf. But I actually have a couple more planned, and so this one you can see like It's really dense in color. And what I really wanted to get out of this, and why I called it "Can You Feel This," is if you grew up riding bikes like this, if you grew up, then you feel it. You feel how hot this day was. You feel like when you leave the ground, what that feels like when your knees are bent and you're kind of pulling up on the frame, like you were in a crouch as you went over the jump. But then once you leave and your upward momentum is carrying, then you pull the frame up with your knees, kind of get more height. And so it's like, if you know this feeling, you feel it as soon as you see the picture. No one needs to explain the feeling to you. Whereas if you never ever knew what a BMX bike was, had no framework for it, my goal was that you could look at this picture and not even see a bicycle. You know, because because you have the movie Rad in your mind, you see it, right? But if you had never seen the movie Rad, if you never, and I said this is a picture of a bicycle, you might not even see a bicycle. You might just see some shapes. So this was definitely my trying to walk that line of how abstract can I get from the reference, keep abstracting it from the reference. Like the wheels aren't perfectly round, this thing doesn't even connect. This guy's arm is just a line. Keep abstracting it from the original, but still capture that energy, the energy of lifting off the ground and the heat of like a summer day. So really, if I could describe it in a corny ass way, it's like a picture of the energy. It's a picture of the energy of liftoff. It's a picture of the energy of the heat on that day. It's not even a picture of bicycles at a certain point. But that would just be me being too artsy.
Did you race BMX at all
I did.
as
Well, I
a
mean,
kid?
I didn't race professionally, but as me and my brother growing up, but yeah, we were, growing up in Vermont, we had no shortage of dirt and piles of dirt and plywood to make
So
jumps.
you rode recreationally, but you never
Yes.
like raced
No,
on
no,
any kind
no,
of even
no, not
like
at all, not at all. But
local level.
even when we were in Germany, all the other American speaking kids had BMX bikes, and we had fields and construction sites and literally, I don't know, whatever old men are in the space, but do you know, like, the really fun game was to build a jump out of plywood and then line up all the neighborhood kids lying on the ground and jump
Uh-huh.
all the kids in the neighborhood?
That was the evil Knievel part of it.
That was the Evil Knievel. So it's like that's how the Evil Knievel of the 70s affected the kids of the 80s. So, but when I was a kid, like, imagine being that last kid, right? The one who's like right next to where the tire lands, right? So that was me. I was that kid.
So we did it. So we did that, and then of course we hit one of the kids, and so then after what happened was we all just laid our bikes. So if you weren't jumping, you laid your bikes there.
Yeah, yeah, much safer.
That wasn't pleasant to land in, though.
Yeah, exactly. That motivates the person doing the jump not to screw up.
Yeah, man. Like I got tangled in that, and I rather would have hit the person like 100.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, this piece, I can just tell you, it's like kind of 2 foot by 2 foot roughly on canvas, and it kills when you hang it on a wall. It's so bright and loud. So this is a piece, like, eventually when the right collector comes along for this one, I'm pretty psyched that they will not want to ever sell it because it just has so much vibe.
Well, that's one of the two
Oh,
that I was gonna maybe call dibs on
All right,
there.
well, call me. Yeah, hit me up. Hit me up.
So, well, I'll be directly in those DMs as soon as
Yeah, so if
we're
you
done
know the
here.
last two, like this one, Beaver Dragon at Daytona, that's like my style last year, very comic book style with digital color in a palette that emulates the Bronze Age comics. So I like to do pieces that have the vibe of a comic from 1978, you know. But here it's like referenced from a picture of a race at Daytona, but I have like taken the liberty of putting Beaver Dragon in the front of the shot. And he did race at Daytona once in 1974, and the car he drove was a purple Plymouth Roadrunner 1971 in number 86. So I put a pretty good version of that car in the shot, and then like way in the back, again, as you go back, the cars are more abstracted until they just look like little clumps. But again, that's how comic book art works too. I feel like it adds to the sense of speed that the further back you don't even see cars, you just see sort of blurred shapes. And then the car that you want to focus on, Beaver Dragon's car is in very vivid focus. So this is just a fun piece I did. It's not very serious, but I think for a fan of racing of this era, it's a pretty strong piece.
Is this one digitally colored?
So the original on this is just ink on paper. It has no color. So this is how comics are done. It's like you do the ink drawing and then you color it later. But if I know for a fact that this blown up into a print in color would look fucking great. If you blew this up in color and framed it, it would look amazing. So, but your physical art on this one is just a black and white illustration. It's not. There's no physical color on this one.
Yeah, because I think he first posted it as just the black and white
exactly.
ink on paper.
And I wasn't even sure I was going to color it because I really liked the black and white. But his car being purple and yellow like that, I was like, I got to, because then anybody who knows Vermont, like you would know not only because it sounds pretty fun, like Beaver Dragon at Daytona. You're like, no, that local guy, he never raced at Daytona, but actually he did, and actually this is the car he drove. So local boy hits the big time.
So there's definitely some subtleties in the car that pointed me to 70 or 71, not 68, 69. I just wanted to, give you some props on that.
Oh, thank you.
Like, yeah, because when I first saw it, I'm like, definitely a Charger or Super B or something, but I'm like, it's not a 68, 69 though, so it's got to be older.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, it's like I look at it and I see a few ways I kind of, because in the picture that I referenced didn't have that. It had a different Mopar car there. So what I had to do was like reference everything but the front car, but then pull up 3 or 4 pictures of Beaver Dragon's 71, and then like in my mind transpose it right into the place it was occupied by a different car. So yeah, certain lines of the back window aren't perfect, but enough of it is there to read as a 71 Roadrunner. I'm pretty sure. I think I got enough of it there.
Yeah, like I say, I definitely picked it out as 70 or 71.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. When I growing up, he was just our local guy. When I heard he raced at Daytona, I was like, "Are you serious? Our guy? That can't be." And then when I saw the car, I was like, "Damn, that is such a hot car! A purple 71 Roadrunner. Jesus, that's some balls."
Well, if it's going to be a Roadrunner, it should probably be.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't be subtle about it. All right, so now I know all the folks are just so they're tired of hearing us talk about art, but I'm going to show you this last one. I also think it's possibly like hitting on a new level. And so this one is, I had a little Twitter poll what we were going to call it. I was thinking about calling it either Moment of Zen or Righteous Air. And the people spoke, and Righteous Air is the title. But his is like, I've got 2 more BMX pieces planned, but this one, it came out even better than I thought. And I just feel like, I think this is, when I think about the collection, I think this is a higher value piece. In its simplicity, it actually is pretty fucking sophisticated. Like, so what? It's like a mountain and a guy on a bike. Who cares? But, dude, I feel like its simplicity is really powerful.
Is he giving some rocker horns at the top there?
It's a little bit like that. I kind of see it as just a one finger. But yeah, it is a little bit. It could be full on devil horns if you want to see it that way. But again, I tried really hard to paint the figure with almost no detail. So like his arm is just a couple smudges, and his shoulder is a smudge, and his knee is a smudge, and his elbow is a smudge. So that when you zoom in close, there's nothing to tell. Like, it's as lacking in detail as I could do almost. But then when you're 10 feet back from it, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty photographic, So
Yeah, I'm not gonna
power.
lie. When I first saw this piece, when we first started the space, I thought it was a guy on rollerblades. Like, so almost the same air position, just on rollerblades. I didn't see the bike in there at first.
Yeah,
I was kind of quick glancing through as we were talking, but
yeah, it's like the other one. I would say to anybody, well, there is no bike. I didn't draw a bike, right?
Yeah,
there is no bike. It's just some smudges. It's up to your brain to make it into a bike,
Come on, Willie. You can pick out that car, but you the year of that car.
I was scrolling a little fast. I was just excited. I wanted to see rollerblades.
All right, maybe I'll have to do a rollerblade piece for you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about rollerblading. This is gonna be sweet.
One thing I like about this piece, if you like want to get into like each brush stroke or whatever, is like right on the bottom, like from the kneecap, zoom in on what would be his shoe. Somehow I can look at that and I can actually see his shoe. You know, even though it's just some dashes and dots, it's like I can actually see the shoe, you know, in my mind's eye. So it's like some little details you're pretty happy with when you step back. You know, like shit, I actually kind of in a weird way, even though I didn't draw a shoe, like I just dabbed and dotted the colors approximating a shoe, it came off pretty well. And now down at the bottom, if you look into the mountain, you see there's like some scratching and scraping of the paint. And again, that's kind of on purpose too, to give the sense that the mountain is, you know, is made of a totally different substance than the figure. But yeah, I'm really proud of this one. I feel like the verticality of the canvas and the high contrast black and white, it just sings, you know. And then framing it, like painting a black frame on the canvas, as I was doing it, I kept thinking, this is the dumbest thing you've ever done. Why the hell are you painting a black outline on the canvas? But like my little artistic voice was like, no, you have to, you really have to. And so I finished the black outline of the canvas and I just like put the brush down. I was like, well, you ruined that. And I walked away from it thinking like, God, now I'm going to have to like paint the whole canvas white again and just start the painting over. I ruined it with that black outline. 4 or 5 hours later, I come back to my studio and I look and I'm like, oh, shit, I love it.
When did I frame that?
Because I just love it because it kind of like has its own internal logic, right? By putting a boundary on it. And then I think what makes it also is that if you look at the distance between his finger and the black line, that tiny distance, that's what it's all about. It's
kind
that
of shows
tiny
you that
distance.
he's at the edge of the frame.
He's right there. He's right
at
at
the
that
top.
apex.
He's at the peak, man.
Exactly. You see?
Oh,
And without the
He's
black
up there at the
line,
peak.
without the black line, he could still be sailing up right out of the canvas. But having his finger right there, it shows that he's right at that moment, you know? So,
maximum X Games
maximum
point.
big time, yeah. Righteous air, bro. So so that's a little survey of the work for anybody listening who's still with us. I know you guys are probably, you know, TiVoing some shit, but
TiVo.
Wow, we're really living these old days.
Yeah, man. Is that the next painting? A TiVo console, a TiVo remote control?
That'll be somebody else's. That'll be somebody else's nostalgia. Post-millennial Americana.
There you go.
I'm really pumped that that was awesome that you fucking prepared that. And
I wanted to just like, you know, make it so that anybody who listened, they now know what the fuck I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what it means, where I'm headed. And if they want to get on the journey, they can follow me, retweet my shit, and if they like a piece, reach out to me, you know.
It's interesting how that you're doing that. Yeah, that is very interesting how you do that. I definitely looked around at your stuff previously to this, but you know, Willie and I don't try not to look too far into the artists if we're not already big collectors or involved with them, just so that, you know, when we come into the space, we kind of have a fresh mind and we can ask some, you know, interesting questions. And like hearing you say all this about each of these pieces, like, and your progression is just like, it's blown my mind. And like last night, I spent a lot of time actually going through your on Object, just going through everything that was on there. Well, just about everything. And having you tonight lay this out and talk about how your journey's going and where you're going and explaining some things and how you did it, just love it. It's like the cherry on top.
Yeah,
exactly
well, I'm really proud of the stuff I did from January 22 to August, and there's actually a pile of stuff I never minted that's just as good, and that's like a very much about a black and white B-movie poster kind of vibe, and like I did a bunch of good shit in that zone. But man, when I felt this pull in August to do this new thing, I cut everything to do it. I was just like, stop everything and follow this call, follow this muse. You know, the muse is calling. Fucking drop everything and do it. So that's how I got to where I am now. So I really appreciate you guys giving me a chance to just talk on and on about it, because it's been all bottled up in me for 4 months, you know?
So are these as we went through them, are they mostly in chronological order, or?
Yeah, mostly. There's one that I somehow didn't include, which is a Lamborghini Countach in the desert. And that's another classic case where I was still playing with this idea of like a black car, where you don't paint the black car black, you paint the black car, the color of everything around the car.
Yes.
So that was in there. That would have been in the sequence right around the same time as the Evil Knievel piece. But yeah, they're mostly chronological, and I tried to show that. I do have. There are more Britney pieces coming. Because the Britney theme is also part of the work too. But right now, the sort of the cars and the bikes and the sense of suspended in air, suspended in that moment of flight. I think that's really the dominant theme where I'm at right now.
So with that, with the sense of suspended and all that, is there some photography in your background somewhere?
I don't necessarily think so, other than just like whatever. Everybody has a camera now with the iPhone, and I have kids, right? So since I have kids, I photograph everything they do. But
Yeah.
even before NFTs, I love to take like cell phone pictures that were just weird and abstract. If I saw a weird reflection, I'd take a picture of it. So yeah, I do like to find strange, weird compositions out in the world and try to capture them. But I'm not a photographer with a capital P or anything. But I enjoy it. I did mint a photograph that was pretty good, back in January, and it's something I'm really proud of. But I don't really, for right now, I take a lot of photographs just as reference. Like I saw a motorcycle, and I was like, shit, look at the way the light's coming off that motorcycle. I gotta take a picture later. I could use that in a drawing. So
Yeah.
I do
Well,
a lot of photographs.
like going back to the Mustang, and even with the last one, the BMX in the air, like with him at the top of that frame, like really gives me these these photograph turned canvas vibe. Even
Yeah,
before
yeah.
you even mentioned it.
Yeah, that's true. I think part of the reason that is a little bit uncanny is because for Monet and Cezanne and Matisse, they didn't have the freeze frame capability. They were trying, right, to capture a moment, but we can actually freeze something in flight and then paint it later, which they just quite couldn't do. So you're right. I am using kind of like an impressionist visual language, but then doing things of like capturing a heavy object in flight, which they never really would have thought to do, because the idea of like a freeze frame or a pause really wasn't in
Yes.
their vocabulary. So you're totally
Yes.
right. You're totally right. And I think I was kind of doing that on purpose too. I knew I wanted to go into this like impressionistic type of oil pastel-y sort of textures, but then put things in the picture that they would have never seen, like a '69 Dodge Charger or a flying motorcycle or whatever. So the contrast of those two things was conscious from the beginning. But you're right, the freeze frame is definitely something they didn't have, and it's fun to play with that. It's really fun to play. It's fun to freeze something in midair and then paint it later. Super fun. Actually, yeah, you go.
I was just going to say, hearing you speak tonight, and looking at some of your old pieces that you've minted, you definitely uphold what a lot of artists in here say, and that is you have to read the descriptions and what's written below the pieces. You put a lot of you put a lot of effort into a lot of this stuff that the explanations or the story to your pieces.
Yeah, I do. I feel like there's usually a poem or that you could say, at least when I do a painting, I also feel like I could express almost the same thing in a poem, and sometimes I would do that on a drawing. I would just write down the poem. I feel like it's giving the person two ways to experience it. Yeah, and another day, when you really need a guest, I could come on again and we could look at some of the work from last year, because some of that I'm very proud of. This piece that was collected by the Tesla's Foundation, that piece was fucking awesome. And then like a piece before that I did, which was like it was called Doll Parts Roots of Empire. That was like, for me and my skill set, that was a top piece. I mean, that was me pushing my skills to the utmost last summer. So yeah, I'm proud of that work too. But I'm on like a whole new quest right now.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, again, if I would be, it'd be fun to look at that stuff. And there are some stuff if people want to look at my work. A lot of my stuff on Versum is very illustration-y, and some great shit is there. Some absolutely great shit. And then a lot of my black and white stuff is on Object So yeah, if anybody
No,
wants to look at that, feel free.
we would definitely love to have you on and have a take from all that stuff again too. There's a lot of artists. We've definitely got a list of artists. Well, just about every artist we've interviewed. Definitely, there's other things to dive into. Even some of the artists that have stayed on with us for 5 hours. At the end of it, we're like, man, okay, we got to have them back on again.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I think this is the time where Bits tells you that we would love to have you stay from the 2 hours if you want to, and we can go into all those pieces. But if you got someplace to go IRL, then by no means.
I can hang, but I guess I'm used to like in a Twitter Spaces, like having more dialogue, like with a whole crowd. So I mean, maybe we could get more people up in the conversation or whatever, because I feel like I've heard my voice talk so much. I'm like, oh, I mean, I would not want anyone else to have to listen to me for 2 more hours.
No, for sure, and it's definitely also getting to the point where we're definitely going to ask, and if anybody wants to come up and have a chat and has some
Cool, yeah.
questions or
All right, well
opinions,
then, yeah, let's bring some more people up.
absolutely. Nick Dime's jumping in again.
Yeah.
Because I know you all have burning questions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
HP, look,
I'm a mystery.
HP, the only reason that they're bringing this up is because they want to rub it in my face because I only spent like 35 minutes with them. So,
Hey, we appreciate all the time that any artist can give us. If you can only give us 30 minutes, we appreciate that.
There's a
We
lot of
just
people that never even had 35 minutes with Nick Dime. So
exactly. Plus, I think you've made up for it by all the other spaces you've come into and chatted at us.
yeah, man, you've been really supportive and helpful with us for sure.
Yeah, that's just how we do.
So I think one question that a lot of people might be asking, especially if they're listening later or whatever, and find this thread and want to come back, is how much do these pieces normally go for? If it's the physical and
yeah, that's actually really hard to calculate because what's a Tezos, right? I mean, we've seen Tezos go from like 70 cents to $1.05 in the last
yeah.
6
So
days.
okay. So let's keep it generic, and you can keep those to the DMs, but let's keep it generic. And do you base it off of, or do you sell them in Tezos, or do you sell it in USD equivalent more likely?
I think when you're selling an NFT, I always think about the NFT is in Tezos. When you're selling a physical piece with the digital sort of authentication, and the NFT is the authentication of the physical, that's a little different. I think in that sense, I would price, especially when it's on canvas, I would price things based on the size.
Okay.
So there would be like a small, medium, and large canvas size, and then I would have a ballpark figure, and then I would talk to the collector, and we just work it out, as close as they could come to where I thought. Then we would just make the price something that works for both of us. And if they can't come where I want it, then we just say, hey, it didn't work out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And I think any collector, should be respectful of that.
Yeah, but I mean, generally speaking, I think
collector.
The person that comes with the passion for the piece, if they really want it, I'm going to be excited about it too. Because again, with physical art, it's like you're not really looking for the secondary. You actually just want that person to hang on to it and it to mean so much to them that they still have it 20 years from now. So that's another difference, like why you would price it differently. It's like you're not really looking to flip it. You really want someone to want it bad enough that it's in their den, or it's in their kid's room, or it's in their whatever, their beach house or whatever, and their kids grow up looking at it for 10 years or 15 years, and it becomes part of their kids' memories or something. Now that would be the shit, right? That would be the best fucking life a painting could live, is to go on to be part of someone else's memories. So yeah, that it would be a whole different pricing because that's what you're trying to go for.
Well, I gotta tell you, there's a Kelly Telfer going up in one of my kids' rooms, but the other one's gonna need something similar.
Okay.
So
you give me an idea. I could draw you up a custom. I'm actually going to be going to some races, up in Vermont, and this summer, my brother, it turns out, we were talking, he started to connect with some of the people who are still in that world. And so I'm going to get some inspiration. I'm going to go see some races up close and maybe come back with some new inspiration. So anybody wants to hit me up for a custom piece and say, draw me a piece where it's this car doing this crazy thing or this character and this thing, you know, I'm open for that too. I would do a custom piece for someone.
I'd personally love to know which races you're going to. I'd love to join you. And we're going to take a quick turn here. I need some help picking out some spaghetti sauce for tonight. HP, I know you're not a fan of
All right.
ragu.
No, thanks. You know me so well. Oh my god.
Are you at the store?
Ragu. You
I'm at the
must
store right
avoid
now.
ragu.
Yeah,
You must not get ragu.
All right, so
Well,
Get Classico. Get Classico. Get Newman's Own.
or at least Rouse.
Or
Would be good.
Rouse. There you go. Get Rouse. Classico. Just listen. If corn syrup is the second, third, fourth, fifth ingredient, then you put it down. If corn syrup is on the list at all, then you put it down. Ragu, corn syrup is the second ingredient. That's an embarrassment.
No shit. Really?
Dude, that stuff.
Sugar, man.
It's brutal. It's brutal. They could put that on ice cream. It's just sugar.
Yeah, I've never gotten ragu.
No, don't. It's. I'm sorry if there's any big fans in the audience, because you know some of us like Miracle Whip, some of us like mayonnaise. It's okay. I'm not food shaming. Like what you like, but in my opinion,
Pong's coming up now. He's gonna be all. What the
I
fuck
don't know. We beverage shame a lot around here.
Hey, are you guys talking about Rayos when you say Rouse?
Is that how it's pronounced? That's fine. You can correct me on that one. I'm not 100% on that one.
As
I like that sauce.
Italian American from New
sauce.
Jersey, very close to New York.
Yes.
I just had to jump up for that. Rayos.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
Before
We
anybody
like
got hurt
Rayos
with their spaghetti.
Listen, I don't know. I think ragu will hurt you. Ragu will give you diabetes.
I was jumping up first for
Do not eat
ragu
that.
to stop that.
Yeah, stop that noise. Okay.
Pong, when we gonna see a glass race car?
We're gonna have to talk in like the double-digit ETH for that, but you know.
yeah, Pong, let's do a collaboration, huh?
Yep, I would love to. That would be great. We can make the wheels spin.
I'm gonna say not for me. I just want to see it.
Come on, Willie. Spread it around.
I don't got that kind of ETH, man.
I don't have Pong ETH.
Soon enough.
Yeah,
23. It's early
I
still.
don't have Pong and Lou ETH. Come on now.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna have to have lasers for sure.
Coming out of the headlights.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually, Pong, can I commission you to do an F-14 Tomcat?
These are some very tough but interesting and awesome requests. Yeah, we can totally work on this stuff. Yeah.
All right, cool. My request is in.
Whip them up end of the week. Let's.
Yeah, just knock it off.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Like 20 minutes.
It's not a complex form or anything. It should be pretty easy.
I am working. If anybody's doing any 3D stuff, I'm trying to do some 3D to glass casting. So if anybody's interested in that, on those kind of things, it would probably work out a lot better.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so if you got like a 3D model of your race car ready to go, we could print it out somewhere and turn it into a casting, or your Tomcat, or I think, was it Top Gun plane?
F-14. Damn.
F-14, yeah.
Boom, and there you go.
Yeah, cast it, exactly. That'll do. You know what? I was thinking about this. I'm looking at the name of the space, and you said you were doing a giveaway, right? Maybe I should donate a piece to your giveaway.
We would love that.
All right, let's keep the conversation going. I'm going to go dig through the vaults and pull up something that I will give, and we can give it away to a lucky listener.
Exciting. Awesome. Woohoo, guys. I've been taking my snapshots throughout the space and keeping our list all up to date and keeping our list happening.
Mike Nash, are you around? Are you driving? Or I don't want you to wreck if you're driving. I know you're in there.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm driving, man. I'm on the Florida Turnpike, heading north.
For the camp out?
Say what?
For the camp out, right?
Oh yeah. Heading up to Nashville. I've had my son with me down at the nest, and be dropping him in Chattanooga and heading to Nashville.
Nash, you
Um,
in the Mustang today or the truck?
I'm in the truck, man. Heading north.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Man, dude, I wish I could be more involved in this. What a freaking killer space, dude. HP, man, amazing stuff, dude.
Oh, thanks. It means a lot,
No,
Mike. I know.
you're all good, man. I don't want you to record nothing if you're driving. But yeah, I knew you'd want to listen at least, so that's why I shot
Yeah,
you a
hell
text.
yeah, dude. Yeah, actually, when I'm the speaker, I can only listen through my phone, but when I'm a listener, it'll play through the car. So I might drop down,
Yeah, go for it.
just so I can have like bigger sound.
Want to hear us stereo?
Yeah, I got to hear it all the speakers. But dude, man, I can't wait to go back and listen to the whole thing. And yeah, dude, I'm super stoked. And HP, I'll be hitting you up in the DMs, man. Wow, what's some just some amazing stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to hitting these lanes and rubbing with these trucks, and I'll talk to you guys later. But I'm gonna drop down as a listener.
All right, buddy. You be safe out there.
All right. Oh, I wanted to tell you, I got some gator bites on the way out of town, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
I had to do it, man. And our the dollars on the ceiling are intact.
Good. Good to hear.
Yeah, man. I see Empress down there. We got some gator bites there a couple times. Yeah, everybody's dollars are good to go. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm dropping down.
All right, buddy. Yeah, Empress is going to be our guest next week, so we'll have her in full form. Get to talk about all of her trash.
I kind of like it. I kind of like that trash.
Yeah, we like the trash. We dig on the trash around here.
I can't wait to have her on because I was really drunk the first time I met her, and I don't remember. I think I may or may not have spoken with her.
Yeah, I didn't speak with her much that first day either. But when we got some gator bites and she took us to the hospital and stuff, we had a little better conversation. So
Took you to the hospital? Why?
Sorry, not hospital, airport.
Okay.
Why am I thinking? I'm thinking hospital because the damn ambulance just drove by and fired all the dogs up in my neighborhood. So,
Goddamn ambulances.
Yeah, I had hospital on the brain there somehow. No, airport had been.
That was awesome. That was dope.
Yeah.
Y'all ever seen the guard dog Empress Trash has?
Absolutely, puppers. Not personally, but I've seen pictures.
Yeah, that thing looks scary. I will never get near her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a Rottweiler, right? I think.
It's a big muscle pushing around there. Probably big.
I'm sure we'll talk all about puppers next week. We all got some puppers around here. We love talking puppers.
Great. My dog just looked up at me when I said that. He's down here laying on the floor on his bed, and he just looked up when I said that. So my dog will be listening next week too. Tezos. HP, you're a big you love the Tezos. You're a big pusher of
I think what we were saying, last fall, even when Tezos was $7 or whatever, in a weird way, it's not the coin. Even though we like to say, "Oh, we love Tezos," for whatever reason, the right people gathered around that coin at the right time. So even though I love Tezos, I don't really love a coin. What the fuck is a coin? It's not even alive. It's just a piece of technology. But for what it was the right people had gathered around Tezos, probably because it was the underdog, and like ETH was roaring, and Tezos was like, "Ah." And so the people that were kind of in it for different reasons kind of ended up on Tezos, and we all hung out with each other. And we're coming at this from a different angle, and I think we all bonded. So yeah, I mean, Tezos is where I've done a lot of my work. But hey, I would like it. Hey, Tezos Foundation, if you're listening, yes, I am the man. I am the Tezos ambassador. Fund my journey. Fund my journey. But no, I love Tezos, but mostly it's the people. It's the people we hang out with day in and day out that make it.
So we've been seeing a lot of movement from Tezos to Sol and ETH and other chains. Um, have have you minted on any of the? I know you haven't
Yeah,
really minted in a
I did it.
while. So
No, I did a bunch on. I did a good set on Soul, and then I have a whole second collection on Soul that I just didn't mint, but it's good work. I did great on Solana, and that was when Solana was over $100. So what do you want? But it's like I just this summertime I just sort of shifted priorities, but I'm not done with Solana at all. I've got more stuff to do over there, and some drawings, the ink drawings that I've shown, and the collectors over there already said, hey, when you are ready, some people have reached out to me. They want specific ink drawings that I showed in Solana Spaces and stuff. So yeah, I'm not done with Sol. And ETH, when the moment comes, I'd like to do it. I've minted a few pieces on ETH, but again, I don't have a community there. I don't have a voice there, so it doesn't surprise me that people aren't banging down my door.
right. No, I just
But it's
I
cool.
mean we're Tez based mostly. We don't have anything against other chains or anything. It's just kind of where we live and thrive as well. So it's
Yeah, I
just
mean, I found same thing happened with me on Solana was that I just found a group of people I liked to hang out with, and that made Solana a fun place to be for me. But on the other hand, like there's a lot of different crowds on Solana, and some of those crowds are people I wouldn't want to spend time with, and that's cool too because they're doing their thing. So everybody can find the little crowd that resonates with what they're doing, and I found a bunch of cool people on Solana, and I thought they were great. So yeah, I hang out with them, whatever. So yeah, it's good. I don't think really my coin is better than your coin is really the thing. But I mean, I like Tezos. I like Tezos because in my opinion, it has the kind of like family truckster vibe. It's not a Lamborghini. It's not even like a Datsun,
Dude,
but it's a station wagon.
we're just
It
all
will get you
sloshed
there.
up in
It
a
will
Honda
fucking
Civic.
get you there. It will get you there. And in Tezos, this thing could still be running when other coins have already mooned and then fallen through the floor and disappeared. But Tezos will still be just chugging along. And I think that that's not nothing. That's actually a huge thing. Even Netflix, do you remember like 3 summers ago, Netflix stock fell by 70%. They just lost 70% of their value in like a day. Bloop.
yeah.
So even something like that, that's a game-changing technology. It doesn't last forever. They have their moment and then they're gone. And I feel like Tezos just, in my opinion, I'm not a technically, literate person, but in my opinion, what I understand, it's just built to stick around a while. So if the Tezos blockchain sticks around for 11 more years, that'd be fucking remarkable, So yeah, I like Tezos. It's cool. I
Absolutely.
Right
mean,
on.
I
Well
love
said.
Tezos. Fund me. I mean, Tezos Foundation. I love send money.
I
Fund.
love.
Tezos billion war chest. Send to HP. I will be
Well,
your ambassador.
only because Tezos didn't invite us to the Tezos Miami party after trying. I kind of like, well, let's see who else is out there. Let's get a little courtship going on here. Who else wants to court us? But
Yeah.
I could be brought back to a number one love for sure.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like, we have Dimes Racing, but like a couple people have seen like Tezos also sponsors like these like little sprint cars. There's like literally Tezos sponsored racing teams in the sprint car
They
circuit,
sponsor
I
soccer in Europe too, don't
I
they?
and
actually
I'm
I
like,
actually saw some saw some logos in some of these unminted pieces that you were showing us earlier.
Yeah.
I saw
Well,
some on the hood there.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like, you can interpret that a bunch of different ways. Trouble in turn 4,
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't know that there's too much interpretation there. That's a Tesla logo.
Oh no, it is. But I mean, like, you'd ask yourself, is that a badge of honor that the car is like skidding off the track?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Hey,
But again, that's the point.
Every car skids off the track at some point.
That's right. Exactly. And sometimes that person comes right back and wins, so it's fine. So yeah,
I saw Earnhardt Jr. hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then not race for the 2 years after that because of that wall he hit up in Sonoma. He made a right hand turn. That was his problem.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
I didn't think
what
cars could do that.
No, they only go left. But you know what? Dimes here. Dimes is gone. I was going to say I wanted to get this line in, but he's gone out. Just wanted to remind everybody that rubbing is racing. Just Dimes reminds me of that all the time. Rubbing is racing.
Absolutely.
That's
no. It's actually when Earnhardt hit, it was actually a road course, so there were right hand turns, but he made the wrong right hand turn. It was a terrible crash.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, you want to make the right, not the wrong right.
Exactly.
That sucks. Well, my track growing up was called Catamount Stadium, and again, like they last race they ran was in 1987, and Beaver Dragon, he just wiped out and flipped the car 7 times end over end. Got out of the car, got the other car off the back, and came in 11th.
Wow. Nice. That's some real movie shit right there.
I know. That's how they closed out the track. I mean, that's some shit right there. But
the Days of Thunder where they run to the end.
Cracked a beer and went and grabbed the other car.
Yeah.
Hold on. Don't we have another car on the trailer? Yeah, but I'm fine. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. But that's some that is just because you went off, just because you went over the berm or whatever, doesn't mean you haven't lost the race yet.
So I want to really get into some like cars and planes with you if you want to.
I'll try. I have to delve into my.
I don't mean like deep. I don't mean like deep. Just like what is your favorite? What is your favorite car kind of thing?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I have some unsung heroes. I think some cars don't get enough appreciation.
Okay, let me ask this follow-up question first then, and maybe that'll help us like narrow some things down.
Yeah.
My follow-up is like, well, what is your favorite movie or TV car?
Oh yeah.
And then, is that also your favorite, on the road or actual car?
Well, I like the movie Death Race 2000.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's ever seen the original with David Carradine, but I love that movie. I think it's so astute, and it's like I love B movies, and it's just a really good B movie. And it, it's way before The Running Man and other like similar stories. And,
so good it got a Jason Statham remake.
Like Sylvester, but the original Sylvester Stallone it's one of Sylvester Stallone's first roles. He's fucking great in it, and it's a great movie. All those cars are really iconic to me. They're really cartoonish and over the top, and I love them. So those are my favorite movie cars. I think those are just amazing. They're so outlandish and ridiculous, but
so you like the kind of cartoony, not real life cars.
Well, I think when you're in
movie,
when you're in fiction, you can do that. You can have these ridiculous cars, like
as opposed to a General Lee or a Italian Job Mini or.
Yeah, I like that. The funny thing about the General Lee is like, and this gets into like the post-Americana sort of mindset. It's like every time they jumped one of those cars, it was totaled.
Yeah.
The suspension
over 700 something, 68, 69's gone.
Yeah, and so, but every time you saw the show, they do a fast cut edit to them in the driver's seat in front of like a screen, you know, going woo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just amazing that you're like, what are you watching? You're watching like a car be destroyed 3 times per episode.
Yeah, at least 3 per episode.
and that the edit of them like going woo, and as a kid or as an adult, doesn't matter. Like you're invited to suspend your disbelief and say like, I know with my eyes that the angle that it's coming down at, the nose is going to eat half of the dirt, and I could see the wheels go up into the wheel well in a way that nothing survived.
Yeah.
But
Well,
in my mind,
but when I was 12, I wasn't a student of engineering
right,
yet, and I
I
didn't
could
know.
see but I will accept that they just kept driving.
Yeah.
No,
So,
as I've watched some of the old episodes, yeah, that when you talk about the wheels going up, I watched for it, and you'd see even like the front fenders would buckle because you could
yep.
see the frames fucking bending. And then they would just
And then they go woo, and they keep driving.
I mean, those cars probably only weighed 8,000 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Come on. But apparently they could get them in those days for $500. Each new only cost the production $500 to get a new one. So yeah, they burned through them so fast. But again, for the American family sitting at home, it would be impossible for them to conceive of the fact that the cars were destroyed every time, right? Because you wouldn't destroy your car at home.
Right.
You know, the car is like one wage earner's salary. So it's just like the whole like willing suspension of disbelief. Like we will ourselves to believe that they landed that jump and it was fine, and they just kept driving because we couldn't imagine destroying 3 cars a day. But that's the fun part of entertainment, you know. It's like the world that you the artificial world that you enjoy spending time in, you know, because it's different than the real world.
That's why
It's
they
also
do it.
massively increased the value of the Charger of the 68 and 69 too, though, because not necessarily because of the iconography of it, but because of the destruction of so many.
They essentially burnt them.
They
Right?
burned
Yeah.
them. Burn
They
mechanic.
burned them.
There it is. Burn metric. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Deflationary.
The new Dodge Charger, right? Man, I don't know. When I see that thing, I just like. Ugh.
I didn't like
That's
it.
not. It's not the
I don't
same.
like it.
Didn't it make you feel a little bit uneasy and like uncomfortable? It just like, oh, what is
It's
it?
sedany. It's got 4 doors. Come on, the original Dodge Charger didn't have 4 doors. It had
It
2
looks
doors.
like a Duplo. It looks like if you had Legos and someone was like, "Dude, I built you a Duplo."
Yep.
What the fuck do I want a Duplo?
But
I don't want
the
a
new
Duplo.
Challenger looks a lot more and feels a lot more like the old Charger.
All right, I'll have to look into that. But I see the new Charger on the streets sometime, and I'm like, part of me thinks I should like this, but I'm kind of repulsed by it.
I don't think that any American company has done a fabulous job of bringing back old, like the new Blazer. What is it? The new Blazer, like
the Blazer's garbage.
Fucking dude, it looks horrible.
I know, who designs these things. It's really shocking.
Oh, is 0009 down there? I'm in a different page right now. We gotta be
No,
careful who we're talking about.
No, he's not. Well, he could at least give us some input, maybe, if he was here.
Yeah, there you go. We should just bring him up. He is down there.
No, he's not. He's not. He stepped out.
I said something in a thread about to reply to him. I said, it sounds like you're talking about the new Mustang. He goes, oh man, I feel so bad. One of my buddies designed that.
Oh, I actually saw that. I saw that just the other day.
Tweet?
No, I saw one of the new Mustangs. I saw it in a parking lot 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah,
I kind of like
bad SUVs.
Yeah. I like, again, my knees kind of buckled. I was like, oh.
Yeah. You put what name on that?
Yeah, I was like, what is that logo doing on that? Like I skirted it. I took a wider path in the parking lot to stay away from it. It just looked aversive. I was like, I don't think I want to be close to that object.
Yeah, my mother is like irate about how that thing's look. Well, what was it, back in 1996 or whatever, when they made that Jelly Bean Mustang? Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck was that? Let's take an iconic piece and just, puke something out. I don't know.
Well, I think I think all muscle cars, if we're talking muscle cars, they've all had bad eras in the 80s and 90s. The Corvette's no slouch to that. Like they've just all had bad designs. It was just part of the design of the time. But to like reboot something, if you will, and then it still be bad, so like you're saying, like the Blazer or the Ford Bronco even. It's like, okay, they did good on the styling on the Ford Bronco, but then the actual mechanics and the drivetrain and all that is like, well, this is a cheap ass Kia. Like, what is going on? Like, you didn't match the two.
Mm-hmm.
You spend all your time on the design and nothing on the actual drivability and anything like that.
I
It's
think
just
a Hummer is a prime example of that too. But
the H2 absolutely, or even worse, the H3. Oh,
Yeah, there's
H3.
someone in my neighborhood still driving one of those, and I mean, I don't know. It could be like it could reach a state of being some sort of like meta post-ironic statement, but I don't think so.
You know what's interesting about the H2s and H3s? They still hold a lot of value, and I
It's
don't know
weird.
why.
It's weird. Yeah, like the Fiero, Pontiac Fiero, they had that body that could just clip on. That's what we need,
You could clip
dude.
on a Ferrari Testarossa body on the Fiero, right?
Exactly, kit car, but they had like
Yeah,
they had like a really nice setup. So if you had someone who could do the oh man, my brain is the fabrication. If you had someone who could do the fabrication, you could line it up and it would click onto the frame and it would be rock solid. It wouldn't wiggle or wobble, right?
hmm
So I mean, that's what they need to do. They need to make a car that has like high powered, whatever, electric. It doesn't have to be gas. It could be some electric motor, but it produces a lot of like a very high performance engine. It doesn't matter what kind. But then the body could be clipped on to be customizable. I mean, who wouldn't get into
those
that?
are called
People would
golf
get into that.
carts,
Oh, golf carts, shit. Oh,
dude. There's
see,
all
just when
kinds of
you think you thought
customizable
of
bodies
something
for
new,
golf carts.
just when you
Yeah,
think you thought of something new.
you could be driving the Ferrari golf cart or the H2 or the H1 golf cart, Cadillac golf cart. Man, you pick your
Yeah.
golf cart clip, you just snap that bad boy on there.
All right. All right. Let's get into some cars that don't get enough love. You ready? Here's my car that gets no love. The Opel GT.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Love it.
cool car.
Love
It's
it.
like you think you're walking towards a Corvette and you think it's going to get bigger as you get closer, but it doesn't.
Love it.
You think perspective wise, it looks small now, but when I get right next to it, but then you get right next to it and it's still like at your waist and you're like, what the fuck is that? So
Tons
I
of
was,
horsepower, super light.
it's such a cool idea for a car,
Yeah.
It's like a pocket Corvette. You can just like pick it up and put it in your pocket and drive it around.
That's why they
So I
ran
mean,
rally with him for so many
yeah.
years.
So it's
were
like
they fiberglass as well too?
I don't
All
know.
of them?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they were, but I'm not an expert enough. But we used to see those in Germany. We saw those Opel GTs, Opel Manta. You know,
Yeah, so
it's all,
you saw a lot of cool cars in Germany.
yeah, all Renault, all the different models of Renault.
That's one thing. Like, even when I zip over to Italy, like they just the vehicles they have over there, man. It's all like the Citrons
Yeah,
and all that.
exactly.
It's like, dude, I
Yes.
fucking love that stuff. And where our house is down there, it's like lots of poverty. So like a lot of these old vehicles that just don't exist anymore, that aren't really safe for the roads and never were, like they all still exist too. And I love those fucking things, man.
Yep.
Little 3 cylinders.
Yep. Real living.
Tuk tuk is one of my most favorite vehicles in the world. Is a tuk tuk.
I don't think I know that.
The little three
Not
wheelers, like
the one with the wheel in the back. It's
no,
like a
it's got
one or two person
single
car.
wheel in the front, 2 wheels in the back. It's like Thailand they have them, and in Italy they got versions of them.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's like
they're like real big in Thailand, right?
Yeah,
They use them as like taxis down there. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yep, I'll post one up at the top here.
Okay, all right.
I've
I just
got
want to
one
make
of
sure
my.
I'm on the same train here.
I think in Grand Theft Auto you could fucking steal a tuk tuk and like rock one.
Okay.
That's good advice for my next gameplay.
Absolutely, it's like yeah.
But you know what, another car, if you want to talk about like back to like the dream cars or whatever, I think the Lamborghini Countach from like 73 and 74 is a really sexy car. You know, and like whereas the one from the 80s that everyone really admired, it had a lot more louvers and air intakes that were rectilinear and kind of broke
Yeah.
the line. But man,
Yeah.
that one from 73 and 74, when you see it, you're just like, well, I feel like the Jeff Goldblum, well, there it is. Like, that's what it was supposed to look like. You kept adding knickknacks and doobobs to it. By the time you got to 87, 88, or 89, it was just covered with all this extra stuff.
Wings and louvers
Yeah,
and yeah,
wings and louvers
exactly.
and like little air
That's the one
intake
I
here,
love
air
though.
intake there. And it's like that stuff just made it look chunky and
I
like
don't
a
know, but
cake.
that's what I grew up with though, so that's
Oh,
what I
me
love.
too. But man, the original one is just like, whoo, that's
But
some style.
then I worked with the guy who owned a 64, 66, 68 Mura,
Mm-hmm.
Lamborghini Mura,
Mm-hmm.
which was like their first actual
Oh yeah,
car, I
that's
think,
just
right? Because
gorgeous.
they're a tractor company,
There's your
and
tuck.
just a like he would bring it to the parking lot a couple days. Like he brought it to work like maybe 4 times in the 10 years I was there. Because it only had an original 700 miles or something on it. Anyways, just a fucking absolute beauty, just a work of art.
No, it is. You're right. It is. It's absolutely stunning.
Like
Just
without going
aesthetically.
into the history of how that changed supercars and it being the first, all that, but just yeah, just stunning to look at.
Yep, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I think that some of the cars, like the Countach was also like designed, and this is part of the reason I think I put it in some of my paintings too. It was designed for its visual impact. It was designed so that when you saw it, you just stopped and your jaw fell open. It wasn't just about how it performed. It was definitely a visual statement as well.
Well,
And
I've never driven one, but I hear they drive like garbage.
oh yeah, no, I hear the same thing that like you can't see anything. You're facing
Yeah,
the
they're
wrong
like
way.
the gearbox is just like you just have to slam it together every time you change gears. Like
Yep,
it's just terrible to drive.
yep,
Power
yep.
steering doesn't work in it.
Exactly. But I also feel like the people that love it for all those same reasons. That it's just like the 12 cylinders right behind your head, and then you, and that's all there is. It's like you strapped to
Yeah.
a motor. Like the rest of it becomes inconsequential. It's just you strapped to a motor because it has no amenities whatsoever. There's nothing luxurious about it. It's just you and this motor. So yeah, not a comfortable ride, but pretty cool from an aesthetic standpoint. From the exterior, just like a stunning piece of imagination brought to life. And that's like why it was on every kid's bedroom in the 80s. It literally is like you see it and you're like, that's just something I would imagine. You mean someone made that? It like just strikes your imagination.
And if you saw it in black, it was like the Batmobile, and there was no Batmobile.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You only had like the '68 long penis looking Batmobile. You didn't have
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
they didn't have the new one from the '90s yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
I
like a
pinned a
comic
tuk
book
tuk.
come alive.
I pinned a tuk tuk up to the top there as well.
Oops, AI Machinist found a fixer upper for me. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh,
I figured I
actually, you
should
know
pin
what?
that up there too.
Do you want to know a true story? This is like me and my brother growing up. My family actually owned a Dodge Dart, and my parents, I believe that they swerved to avoid hitting a deer. We grew up in the country, and so it got wrecked. And the wrecked Dodge Dart was sitting in our yard for a better part of a year. And if you don't think me and my brother played in that thing every single day as kids, climbing in and out the windows like Bo and Luke, we just that wrecked car was like our whole world. You know, we could have all sorts of imagination and fun in that thing. So when I see this picture, AI Machina, yeah, you hit me. You hit me in the feels with that, because that
Whole lot
does
of
kind of,
tetanus going on there.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you can get a whole lot of tennis. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
I know.
the 68 69 Charger is my dream car.
It is
Like,
just stunning.
and it was so attainable like 10 years ago or so when I didn't have the money. But now that I have the money that I would have had back then,
Yep.
it's gone so parabolic
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, 4 or 5 million. And like, what the fuck? This thing was 40 grand 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's just blown up so big. But
Well, I have some friends who are like, their thing is boats and sailboats, and I have some friends whose things are wooden sailboats, you know,
yeah,
made by Norwegian men, you know, handcrafted in the 30s. And like 15 years ago, that was a very luxurious object, because your upscale people with money would want that wooden boat as a prestige item. But the new money doesn't give a shit about wooden boats. So actually, it's boom time. If you want to get one of these prestige wooden boats, suddenly the price went down 70% in 10 years. So there could be coming a day where people don't no longer want to do the work to maintain those automobiles, and the price could come down again.
well, I
You know?
think,
I
go ahead, Bits.
I was just going to say, it just so happens I need a new boat.
Oh, there you go. Let me talk to some Norwegians. No,
So
but it's funny.
I, I think unfortunately with cars is shit. What the hell is my train of thought?
I agree,
I
Willie.
lost it. I lost it.
I agree with whatever you're going to say, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Completely lost it.
One of the cool.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Okay. So
There we go.
what I think is like is unfortunately is okay, that may be the case, is that those prices may come down, because what I'm saying is unfortunate is the fact that, like, I'm a hardcore car guy. You know, I'm a car guy, and I think we're losing that. Like, as you know, our youth, and all they care about is video games and things like that. And like, they don't care about cars anymore. They don't care about car culture, which is why we have such bad design in automotives these days. Because
Amen.
we have no car culture. We have no, like, just seeing the races and the like hot rod shows out in my area, seeing the cars dwindle, just the amount of cars that show up from year to year dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, is like sad to me. You know, because I'm in California. Like, we have some of the biggest car shows in the country. Like, you know, like west of the Mississippi, we have some of the largest car shows, and they're just not anything that they used to be, and it's sad.
Yep.
And
Well,
so
I agree
I
with you.
agree that that's where your price drops in cars may come from. But I don't know. I'd rather see the car culture be greater than the price come down to be affordable for me. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think we're saying the same thing, though, because it's like, whether you like it or not, you know, the rich of today don't want to, like, you know, spend time oiling the leather of their vintage Norwegian sailboat. You know, they just
Yeah,
don't want to put it.
absolutely.
They don't want to do the work. It takes work. It's like a living, breathing object, just like a car. You actually have to care and like take care of the sails and keep the wood stained and change the varnish every 3 years, and
Or
like,
else it
it's work.
dries out and it
Yeah,
rots and it
owning a
turns
wooden boat is
nothing.
like owning a living organism, and it's a lot of fucking work. And I think
Yeah.
owning a classic car is the same way. It's a living being you have to care for. So, you know.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the thing too, is I also think some of these cars and everything are disappearing because they're just being put away and hermetically sealed, because
Yep.
people have collected the shit out of them. But yeah, a living, breathing, the work that goes into them is like unreal. I've actually become, don't jump on me, guys, but I've become a big pusher for classic vehicles with modern running gear in them.
Yeah. No,
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's really cool. I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Well, it makes it more
So
dependable, right? There's a guy down the street that has a 68 Nova. think it is. Or is it Chevelle? Anyways, like he's always fucking with it. Like you hear him fire it up on a Sunday and you hear him mess around with it for like 15 minutes in the garage. And then he pulls out and he drives down the street. And then you see him going back to his garage because it's not right. And then he finally leaves 40 minutes later, you know, like because they're finicky, right? But also too, that is part of the love, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
as I
that,
talk myself back into it.
that's kind of my dad too, right? Like, you know, my dad, you know, fires it up and then he spends 10 minutes tinkering with the carbs until he gets it out of the garage. Where I'm like, I want to build a kit car, Dad. I want to build a Ford GT kit car, but I want to make it electric. I want to get in and have it be silent and just have it smoke shit for
No, I do think
50 miles. I'm not going further than 50 miles in this thing.
yeah, I do think there's a potential, may or may never come to be, but there is a potential of that integration of the best of modern technology with some of the skeleton and exoskeleton of some classic cars. That when those two things come together in the right way, it could be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we do see it a lot. There's companies out there that like one that I've actually really looked into a lot is a company that does like old Mini Cooper conversions into electric. So like your 56, 58, you know, your classic minis, little tiny 15-inch wheels, and they're electric. They've got
That's cool.
they've got Tesla running gear,
Yeah.
Tesla motors, and Tesla batteries, and you're like, oh fuck, this thing is dangerous.
Yeah, you know what I saw this weekend? We went up to the mountains with my family, and I'm the only one awake at one point, and we're coming up behind it, and I can see that it's a vehicle being pulled on a trailer, and I'm like, that looks like what you would be pulling, like if you were pulling a race car, you know, but who's doing that anymore? And then get closer, and I'm like, what is it? I just can't make it out. Then I pull up next to it, and it looks to me like it's a Honda. I don't even know what the model of it is, but it's like a kind of like a. Do they even make these anymore? It's like a tiny hatchback.
Like an S2000
I don't even know what the model is, but it's a
or like
Honda, sort of a
an
hatchback.
old Civic 3-door.
Yeah, I don't even know what this thing would be, but it probably was 10 years old or 12 years old, and it was a race car. You know, someone had turned this like Honda, like what would have been like kind of like a soccer mom or like a subcompact. It wasn't
Yeah,
it wasn't a sexy car.
it was a hatchback
And
though, right?
yeah, and
Yeah. So
it was like a homemade race car, and it was number 55, just like Dimes. I was like, whoa,
there
what the
you go.
fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah.
So I
So
don't know what's on the inside of that, but I bet it's kick ass. I bet whoever ripped it all apart and rebuilt it in a cool way.
we see a lot of those out in California, actually. The old 3-door Civics, right? So you basically take the like like a larger Accord motor, right? So it's like a B16 Accord motor, and it direct bolts on into an old 3-door Civic,
Mm.
and so you've essentially stripped all the weight that way and increased the handling because your hatchback gives you a little better handling, and then just added a ton of horsepower at the front wheels.
That
And
must be it then.
they use them for like spec racer series, or just like amateur series stuff, road course type stuff.
Well, that's what it was then, and it was cool. It had a
Yeah,
ton of
most
vibe.
likely.
I was like, but that kind of gives me like some thinking about what the future could be there, because that car is not even old. So yeah, you can take something like that's not that old and just rethink it. So yeah, I thought that was cool because back in the day it would have been a full on car that was reworked for pro stock or amateur pro stock or whatever. So yeah, I thought it was cool to see that.
Yeah, but built essentially to compete with the Volkswagen Bug kind of thing. Like a
Mm-hmm.
cheap,
Yep,
just everyday grocery getter.
that's it. That's what it was. Yep.
Can fit 2 kids in the back. When you turn it into a race car.
That's what it was, and I'd never really seen that before, so that was kind of cool.
I
didn't
test
know.
drove a Chevette in my high school days that a guy put a 350 into it. It it was the stupidest fucking thing on this earth, but I had to go test drive it. It was for sale, and then I open up the door. Well, sorry, pop the hood, and then I'm kind of looking back at the firewall, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure we could see the interior of the cab of the car. And then he opens the door, and the transmission, like he had to cut out the whatever you'd call it, the tunnel, I guess, but where the
Hmm.
transmission went and the firewall, and like the engine was right there. The transmission, what you were like fucking putting your coffee cup on it. And he's like, I'll finish. Don't worry. He's like, I'll finish this if you buy it. I'll finish this for you. Like, I got this aluminum. I'm just like, holy fuck! But you fired it up, and I mean, you were right there. The wind from the fan on the front of the car was blowing into the car. The heat was all right there, like, and I went to go put it into gear, and I had my foot on the brake, and you put it into reverse, and the tires just started slowly turning and chirping, like just, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't have enough weight to really like, and the brakes need to be upgraded. And I'm like, oh, so these are like the Chevette brakes that are in here? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't even hold the fucking, like, it didn't even hold like just idling.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
yeah, I don't think we're going to go
I
any
think I'll
further than
pass.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not fixing to die in this thing. I don't know about,
Well, the realization was too, like, it was the Chevette rear end in it still. Like, this dude hacked some shit together, man. Like, it was like not. I'd like to say, as an 18-year-old kid, I think I made the right decision in not
Yes,
purchasing that
exactly.
fucking thing.
Live to fight another day. Yeah.
Yes.
Good die.
So his vehicle design theory was just power, 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 nothing else.
Yeah, there was nothing else there. The brakes were nothing else was changed, man. Nothing else was changed.
Yeah. There's something to be said about balance in all forms of life.
Yeah, it reminds me of. Did you ever see this YouTube clip? It's Alec Guinness, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's talking about the time he had lunch with James Dean. Have you ever seen this clip?
No.
It's really interesting. So like, he's like Alec Guinness, the actor, and he's like talking about how he met James Dean, and yeah, I mean, I shouldn't even spoil it, but it's about the car. They have a conversation about the car. Yeah, you
About
just
the
watch
Porsche
it.
that he died in?
Yeah, watch this clip. It gives you chills. It's something. Like, because it's a, he's not in character, he's not acting, it's the actor speaking about a real thing that really happened to him. So
Yeah.
but it's also Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you can hear it both ways. But seriously, yeah, you watch this clip, just like Alec Guinness, James Dean, just search that on YouTube and watch it. It's kind of spooky, like, and it's a true story. So
I don't
because
know.
that's what I think of right there. Like, hey, get in this Chevette. What's the worst thing could happen? Well, actually,
I don't know. I drive by where James Dean died, like, I don't know, at least once a month, once every other month. It's like an hour from me. It's on the way to the beach. So
well, you
there's
definitely
not
need to watch this. Watch
there's
this clip.
there's not much that spooks me about him, if you will. But
Yeah,
yeah, it
no,
sounds
watch it.
interesting for
It's
sure.
just it's uncanny because it's like one actor who've heard in one sort of archetypal role,
Yeah.
but not acting. It's like telling a true story. So yeah, that's pretty wild. All right, you guys. I think I should try to get some. I'm gonna go just like print out this picture that AI Machina sent, and I'm just gonna just frame it on my wall and just stare at it.
Awesome,
It's
buddy.
just beautiful, dude. But thanks for having me, you guys. I'm gonna get some sleep. I gotta get to work tomorrow, and I appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, like we'll come and do this again sometime. And feel free to reach out to me about any pieces, or even if you want me to do a custom piece for you, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome.
I'll be reaching out about those couple. And
Fantastic.
we really appreciate you coming on, man.
No problem. It's been really
Great
enjoyable. And
great talking to you.
Laser
You're welcome
Lou, Lexi Hearts,
anytime.
Beadwill, the main man, Rod Art Payne, Fendel Mark, appreciate you. Empress Trash, I'll be tuning in to listen to you next week for sure.
Thanks, HP. I
All
appreciate
right.
all the insight and all the stories you gave us
Oh yeah,
tonight.
we had a good time.
That was beautiful, man. Thank you.
All right. Peace, you guys.
Peace out.
Nah, man.
Oh, that was a treat.
Yeah, it was really
Fucking,
cool how he took us on a little journey through all of his artwork.
dude, that was awesome. That was like, I was like, he's like, all right, everybody to the. It's like we all went up into the classroom, and he's like, everybody pay attention now. I fucking totally dug that shit. That was really cool. I mean, it's essentially why we do these spaces, right? Is like I said that earlier, that like
Yeah, he was just
having
the
an
only
artist.
one that's been prepared for us. Like we try to be prepared for the artist sometimes, but he's the only one that's like, I'm ready, coming in hot.
Like a pro.
I loved it.
Boom.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. But hearing right from an artist, that's why we do these spaces, right? Hearing these stories and how they, created a piece of artwork, or where it came from, or the story behind it. I just love it, because I mean, we can all look at art and you can get what you get out of it when you look at it, but to hear the artist and the reason for everything that's in that piece, I fucking dig it. Totally dig it. It's why I'm here every week.
Well, I keep showing up.
Damn straight.
It's not just to get away from my family for 4 hours. That's not it. They go to bed in the first 2 hours.
Oh, come on, your wife's not in here now. You don't have to make up that stuff.
Like I said, they go to bed in the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
Second 2 hours are all mine.
Awesome.
If anybody else wants to come up and just chit chat right now, welcome to.
Feel free to do so. Yeah. So we got Empress Trash next week, and then Paper Buddha the week after, on the 31st.
Right. The PB space.
Yeah, we got hot stuff coming down the pipeline, man. We got some crazy homies coming in to hang with us and talk with us. Chill. Man, having these conversations and hanging out in the bar car here in the night train is what it's all about. Speaking of the bar car, I think I'm gonna have to crack open a beer.
Oh, speaking of beer, I'm drinking some. I'm gonna give some free plugs to my sister's new company. She's working for Dust Bowl Brewing out of Turlock, California these days, and they got some pretty good beers.
Nice.
It takes a lot for me to mention beers because so many of them just been so boring the last 10 years for me. But they got some good stuff. So if you're getting those in your area, check them out. If you're a drinker, if you're not a drinker, a lot of people in here don't drink. So
interesting little segue here today on the news. So doctors were saying safe amounts of alcohol to have in a week for women was 10 drinks a week. For men, it was 15 drinks a week. And they've done some new researches and stuff into heart disease and some cancers and stuff like that. And now they're saying 2 drinks a week is the maximum that anybody should have.
Well, is that? I mean, it's one of those alcohol studies are one of those things where they're like coffee studies, right? Where you can find another article that's the exact opposite.
Well, that's just what the Health Canada, that's their new findings. It's what they came up with today. That's what they announced.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. This is I was really trying to get with this is because a lot of those early studies are like only wine or only beer or so are they just talking alcohol?
No, this was they were basing it on alcohol, period, no matter what form it came in.
Okay. And that's like the maximum to maintain health.
That's what they say.
You're saying.
That's what they're. Yeah. So anyways,
well, that's two. No, I was thinking on a 5-day week. That's a 7-day week. That's not even 2 a day. That's less than 1.3 a day. Less than that. My head math is not working.
Jesus, definitely no. That doesn't. I'm not good at math, but that didn't sound right. No.
Well, yeah, for men, that's just over 1 a day, or 2 a day. Sorry, 2 a day. 15 divided by 7, just over 2. 15 divided by or 10 divided by 7. I can't do.
You got a phone in your hand, don't you have a calculator? We don't need precise numbers. Or
Funner
maybe
to
Willie
try-
does.
It's funner to try and do it in my head and bore whoever's still listening to us.
Somebody out there fucking just probably dropped the number. Like
They're probably just listening.
Lou's
Like,
probably working away, and he's probably, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. Well, Lou, either that or he completely dropped out of this conversation because he doesn't drink. He was like, I don't know, whatever you guys talk about, I give a shit.
No, he's listening. I know he's listening. He's grooving. We can say that. Hopefully, we can say Lou created that piece last night. You know, there's a little bit of Willie and bits in there because he was listening to us yammer on about fucking numbers that we weren't getting right.
Yeah.
You know,
he was supposed to do some live stuff this last week, and I don't know if I missed it or if he didn't wasn't able to stream it or what was going on there, but he's trying to get us some live streaming from the closet. Live from the closet.
Not many people can say that. Live from the closet.
Best live show in town.
Damn straight. Every night's a fucking party.
I mean, it's got lasers. It's got to be a party.
Absolutely. Hang on, I'm going to switch back over to bit.
Am I there?
Yep.
Oh,
You're still
there we go. That's nice. Bits is back. Back in action. Yeah, I really, I don't know, that HP, like some of those pieces he does, like it's just so cool. Like that one with the dirt bike jumping the broken bridge. It's like we were saying, like it's a beautiful, I just love how it's a beautiful piece of art, and that there's a motorbike jumping a broken bridge. Like it's so awesome. Like I just dig that kind of thing. It's kind of like I do it with my dog quite often in the summertime, like when we're out in in the sunrises.
You do it with your dog? What?
And he goes to thanks when he goes to like take a whiz on something or take a dump, and like if I can get the sunrise in the background and make it like a beautiful shot, I fucking do it all the time. Like I send him to my dad, and he's like, "Oh, that's a really nice photo." And then my sister's like, "Did you notice the dog's taking a shit in it?" And my uncle's like, "You really go through a great effort for these, eh?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah."
Well, yeah. What am I take a picture of a dog taking a shit and not frame it well?
Yeah.
What am I, an amateur?
That's right. Like look at my use of negative space with this.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's good use of commentary.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I pulled that piece for anybody that's listening. So last week, Denver Donkey was a great guest, and I'm rocking one of the donks I minted from his mint last week. He a couple of times throughout the space, he like went into this trance, and he spoke such amazing words, and like we were all left speechless after he'd do these speeches, and he's like, what just happened? Like hopefully somebody recorded that. But this was the one I want to play. This was the one that the very first one that we were all like, man, you got to put that on t-shirts and shit like that, and I just wanted to play it. Let's see if I got it here. I'm probably actually
I mean, not financial advice, because I'm just a donkey, but I think we're going to see another bull run in the next few months that may not be as big as the one we saw in 21, but I certainly think we're going to see a new herd of people come into the space. Artists, collectors, musicians, I think, are going to have a big moment in 2023. And I'm just really excited for what this all has in store for us. And I think everyone in this room knows, like, we were here early, we continue to be early, and we innovate and pioneer and really show the world what we can do here, and what we are already doing, and the potential that this technology offers to the world.
Fuck. Damn, somebody put that speech
Damn,
on a fucking
well
scroll.
said,
Yeah.
sir.
Woo.
Holy somebody smokes. Clip that.
Holy
yeah,
I got it.
Out. What happened?
I got you. I got you. I
Damn,
got you.
That man, Denver Donkey for president.
Remember that when he was just
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna let the clip run so far past it though.
Oh, I like
but I do like the Mike Nash Denver Donkey for president at the end there.
Well, that's kind of why I let it go, right? Like I love that. It was beautiful. And
that needs to be its own clip though.
Yeah, it does. And the other one I got from last week, I like reliving these clips. I think it's kind of a cool thing. This is the other one I got, and this was.
Hold on, before you go into that one.
Yeah.
Were there donkey noises at the beginning of that first clip?
Yes, sir. There was.
Were you playing donkey noises? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I was playing them at that moment, but good ear, Willie.
I was like, what the hell?
Well, it's Denver Donkey, man. I had to have donkeys in there, right?
Shit, that is a lot of cops.
They coming to your house?
Coming.
No?
I don't know where the hell they're going. They're not coming to my house. I don't think. I don't know. Turn the news on. Are they coming to my house?
Is it a white? Is it a white GMC?
Holy shit! It's like 12 cops so far. There's more coming.
What kind of neighborhood you living in, brah?
Well, they're going past me, man. I'm like kind of backed up to a kind of a mini freeway, if you will.
A mini freeway.
Yeah, it's like a major road through town, but not a freeway or anything like that. But it's like there's no stoplights for quite a distance.
Okay, I just imagined. Hi, I'm a freeway salesman. Would you like a sample freeway? Here's our mini freeway.
Yeah, 3 stops from here to there.
If you buy 2 freeway, freeway, we'll throw in a turnpike.
I don't know, Bits. We're losing them.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. We're not losing him. It's good, but it's because they didn't like the donkey.
How do you not like a donkey?
I don't know. He's a great donkey. One of my favorite ones from past was this one. Absolute bullshit right now.
My boy Bid said bullshit.
Bullshit. Remember that one?
No, but it's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's fun. I've really enjoyed doing these spaces and then going back through them and checking them out after. It's loads of fun.
That's funny. I'm gonna need that one so that I can like put it underneath tweets around the space somewhere.
So you can what? Sorry,
So I can like reply with it, like in tweets. Like
Oh.
my boy Bid said bullshit.
That's I like that.
Have some tweet replies with it.
I like that. That's fucking totally awesome. Somebody be trying.
You gotta start calling more stuff bullshit though.
Yeah. No, you gotta fucking. How much is that watch? That watch is $24.99.
My boy Bid said bullshit.
Bullshit.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. No, this is fucking absolutely. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, sir.
Oh, I miss Mike Nash, man.
Yeah. Well,
that's funny. That's right. He'll be back next week. I'm pretty sure. We hope.
Yeah, probably. He hates it when he misses these, man. He loves these spaces. I know this one killed him. I know it was killing him not to be here.
Yeah, you can tell just the little bit that he spoke to us.
Yeah, well, he was listening for that little bit there too, right? So, oh well.
Well, I was like, oh man, Mike's gonna miss this one. So I texted him the link. I'm like, dude, you should at least listen if you can't talk or whatever. And like, it's right up his alley.
Yeah, rock them
Talking
speakers.
Cars and shit.
What was the new truck that he bought? Grand Cherokee, didn't he? That was what he picked up there a couple weeks back.
I think that's what he told us. Yeah.
That new Grand Cherokee, I think. We probably sound really good in there.
Oh yeah. 8, 10, 12 speakers in there.
Probably.
Maybe he got the Bose system. I don't know.
There was what was my car? There was a JBL system I could have gotten in my car. But then I priced it out and I was like, yeah, no. It's okay. I'll just have the 4 speakers, thanks.
See, I've always built my own speaker systems in all my cars.
Yeah,
except for the one I'm in right now. Because it's just too complicated to build the existing system and you can't take out the existing system, so pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, the Corolla, I just bought it and I left it the way it was. I mean, it was just it was fine. It was good. Didn't fuck with anything. Just because it was the first brand new off the lot car that I had ever bought. So I was just like, eh. But now, the old girl, it's time. One of her back speakers is blown. So, I just turned it so that it goes up to the front now. So it's just mainly on the front speakers.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I do. But yeah, I think it's about time. Navigation system too. I want a built-in navigation system. I like having the big screen. Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, CarPlay is the way to go.
Yeah, it's necessary. Like my old work vehicle had it in it, and any rental vehicle I have when I go to Italy or whatever has that shit. And then I get into my car when I get home, and I'm just like so let down. Feel like a hobo.
Yeah, I can't use the navigation in the range because it's so fucking old. And I'm like, well, why would I pay for the map update? I don't even know if they make map updates for this new because now they've gone to CarPlay and all that shit, right? So they don't update the actual maps. It's like, why would I pay like $1,000 for map updates?
Yeah,
it's gonna be out of date. Like, it's fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm,
so I just throw my phone up on the dash. But yeah, that's fun. It's so complicated. You can't update the stereo or anything.
That's fucked up.
Whatever. Yeah, that's why I got the Mini. The Mini's fucking fully built.
There you
Got
go.
the fucking 10 in the back. Tiny car, lot of power in the stereo. Yeah.
I think before next winter hits, I'm gonna have to get myself into a new to me Tacoma or another 4Runner. My old 2000 4Runner, she's finally showing the years and falling apart. So, well, the body it runs great, but the body's just finally had it. It had a hell of a life before I got it, and I patched it up and made it look good
Ship
for a
it,
few years.
ship it down here. I'll take care of it for you.
Fuck.
You can't find 4Runners down here, man. Less than fucking like 50 grand. Stupid. Doesn't matter how old they are. Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, well, like my truck, my 4Runner with all the rust in it and everything, the way it sits, like, and what's it got on it? I don't even know. 300.
170,000 miles. 300,000 miles.
No, I was gonna say 360,000 kilometers, which is like
170,000 miles.
170,000 miles on it, right? Which is, for a Toyota it's a piss in a pan, but the body's just falling off.
Probably still get a good 26, 28,000 American for it. Easy.
No.
Down here you would.
No fucking way. It's a $5,000 vehicle up here, which is amazing.
That's what I think.
It's a 99, man. 2000.
That's what I think. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that's what it should be. But no, you get fucking 20 down here in California for it easy. Easy.
Fuck, they won't allow it in California. Fucking, they won't pass any kind of emissions.
Yeah, if it was a 96 or before, then maybe. Then you can get into some exemptions. But 99, it's too new.
I love it. I just look at it and go like this year. I'm like, I bought it off of a neighbor years ago. And it was funny because he the day he brought it home, when he bought it, I looked at him and I said, well, you want to sell it? He goes, I just brought it home. I'm like, I know, I'll buy it off you. Like I said, you don't ever sell that without talking to me. And then, so what the hell happened? I think the engine just totally blew in it. And then his buddy just happened to roll over his Tacoma that only had 50,000 miles on it. And so he took the engine out of that and he put it into this thing. And so, like, he used to live up in like a wooded area, so it was all 4x4 and like there was bad Bondo in it. And so when I bought it off of him, I just fucking fixed as much as I could, and then I just fucking rock guarded the bottom quarter of the truck.
There you go.
All the way around, right? And it gave 10 more years to its life, 100%. But then last year after winter, I was giving her a wash, and just all of a sudden chunks just started to fall off at the bottom where I had done that. So I was like, well, I mean, it's not through to the interior of the vehicle yet, but that's, yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll see. Next year, we'll be talking at the same time, and I'll be like, damn, I'm still running the 4Runner. It's just a couple of seats. It's a couple of seats on a frame, and that's it. But
yeah, matter of time up there with all the salt on the roads and whatnot, right?
no, we don't put salt. Not everywhere puts salt. We don't use much salt at all here. No. A lot of gravel. Pickle juice we use.
Are you for real?
Yeah. I don't know if it's really pickle juice or if that's what this mixture is called.
Pickle brine is mostly salt, though, I think.
Oh, I guess fair enough. Well, there you go. We put fucking salt on the roads.
I'd have to ask my sister about that one, but yeah, I think pickle brine is mostly salt.
You're likely right.
Pickle juice. So, like, are there like pickle processing plants up there that they have all this extra pickle juice from?
No, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
Or do they just call it that?
That's what I mean. Is like I don't know if that's just what they call the mixture. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because I mean, really, you think they couldn't really put pickle juice under the road? Because I mean, I guess wintertime it wouldn't be a problem, but eventually, like that would just be rotting fucking pickle juice all over the fucking place.
It's just salt and vinegar, I think.
Yeah, that would attract flies. Then you get ants.
Just vinegar.
You get fucking ants, man. Then that's it.
I'm not a big fan of pickles. Never tried to make my own because I'm not a big fan of pickles.
Sorry, I was just scrolling through my wallet here. It just was. I thought I had some mystery stuff in my wallet, but no, it's stuff that I bought. Fuck. You know how it's going when it's like, what is this? Who dropped me the? Oh wait, no, I did buy that stuff. Never mind. I've
Well,
been getting some.
you did get some fun drops from myself and Texadelic last week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a fun time.
Yep.
Got some stuff from ATV
Yep.
and
And
Frame,
hey,
FRAIM. I've been looking at them. Something from THX 1138. That was pretty cool. Movie
what?
sucks, by the way. If you've never seen it, don't waste your time.
All right, fair enough.
Steven Spielberg's first directorial debut or something like that. It's futuristic sci-fi, but it's garbage. I mean, it's psyched. I don't know. I wouldn't waste my time again. It's an hour that I couldn't get back because I couldn't even make it through it. It's an hour of my life that I can't get back. Put it that way. But I don't know if you're a huge movie history historian and want to go through it, then if you want to see all of his stuff, sure, go ahead.
Some people do that. You got to see it all. I found came up like I think Sunday, just this weekend. There was this Big Bad Dog Records that popped up on Twitter, and they started minting these techno songs. They're like legit, really good techno. Like if you're into that kind of fucking, that's I mean I am. I downloaded them all. They're only 0.10 tes. There's like 10,000 editions, but the point is just to give people music, and they're like dope at like they're like fucking 7-8 minutes, like they're good old fashioned fucking at the club raving kind of fucking techno. And I bought them all so far. They've released 6 of them in the last couple of days, and I've been buying them all. They're I fucking like them.
They just kind of came
They
out of
just kind of
nowhere.
came out. Yeah, don't know, not I don't know. Apparently, well, I guess I didn't really look too far much further, but um,
What
it's very
what kind of edition sizes are they releasing? You said
10
under a Tez, right?
10,000.
Oh, so basically open editions.
Yeah, but I
That
mean,
that
like I said,
that assumes they burn them.
yeah, maybe. But I
At
think it's
some
just
point.
more of getting the music out there is what the
Yeah,
is I
I
think where it's going, right? They just want, and
I
I mean,
don't hate that approach.
yeah, no, they're good tunes here. I'll pin one of them up at the. I'll pin up a link up at the top here because yeah, I liked it. I downloaded. They released like 3 to begin with, and I downloaded them all, and then I listened to them all a couple times, and then they just like the next day they released a couple more, and then a couple more, and I'm like, hey, I like it. It's the piece what's his name here, DJ, what is a couple, Mara Goulart, I think they're Brazilian. Yes, Brazil. So I can't even I mean the names, shoosh, I'm never gonna get that that right, but I'll pin it up at the top and everybody can figure out what the names are for themselves. But yeah, if you're into kind of a techno thing, and I mean for point one Tez, I mean to me it's a steal of a deal for some pretty good tunes. I mean if you're all into, when the kids go to sleep, you
Well,
drop a mushroom
are
cap.
there
You mean?
are there rights on it? Like, can I use it?
I think it is all rights reserved. I think no
Okay.
license, no license, all rights reserved. But as I've found with a lot of folks, I'm sure if you are using it, and as long as you give recognition, I'm sure these people would be more than fucking happy for that.
Well, I
But
mean, I think there's a difference between like us playing it on the
yes,
space and saying, hey, this is who it
and
is,
yeah, and
as
monitor.
opposed to monetizing it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's 100%. Fuck, I'm trying to. Oh, that's why it's not working. I fucking got my second phone here, and I'm like, why can't I? Why isn't Twitter firing up? It's because,
You're rocking 2 phones?
well, this I got an old phone. It's like a fucking iPhone 8.
Oh,
I play music off of it, so
Like shit, you want to baller on us? Want to baller on the space?
No, no,
Talking about.
I'm up in the air. I'm either going to get a new iMac, a new iPad, or a new iPhone. I'm just trying to whittle it down to which I should get. I think I'm not going to get the phone because I mean I can just go fucking sign up for my new. I think my contract's done at the end of the fucking August, so new phone I'll get for free in no time flat. But I think I might go the iMac. I really want an iPad to fuck around with Procreate, but that the reality is
Couldn't you do
am
that
I
on an iMac too?
I was looking trying to find I can't remember what those pads were called, but we were talking I think I can't remember who was talking about it recently, but there used to be those pads that you could get that hooked up to your computer, right? And you could I think it was Denver Donkey actually last week that was mentioning that,
Yeah, we were
right? You
talking with Mike. Yeah, Mike was on that too. He's kind of familiar with those too, I think.
Yeah, so that's I was trying to look for that kind of an option, but I didn't find one on their website on Sunday when I was
Oh,
carousing and
because an iMac would be more mouse based and not not Wacom tablet. I think they still make Wacom tablets, man. I might even be able to just get you one because I know somebody who used to have one for an iMac, and I don't know. I don't think they. I know they don't use it anymore, so I don't. But I don't know if they still have it or not. Would be the only question.
fuck this
If they
iPhone
still.
8 so bizarre. Like it's just a little bit different. Like it's we've come so far with the iPhones. I'm trying to figure out how to airdrop, and I'm like, holy fuck, why is
Well,
this so difficult?
there's a lot of apps and stuff that aren't available on the old software. Is all. So you may not be able to.
No, I found it. It just looks different on the old whatever fucking iOS this old one is running here. Oh, I dropped a fucking. It
I
did
don't get
say
the first one today.
no. Okay, well then, good. Okay, what this is. Just gonna make up a tweet here and pin it up to the top. So if anybody's into Big Bad Dog Records, they can check it out for some good techno.
I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, I for I just thought it was pretty badass. I was like, and then if and because like I don't check out any of the other places to buy some of this music. Like I live, here in Twitterland, right, and all that shit. So it's like this is where I get my info, and if it doesn't pop up, I don't, or somebody doesn't direct me to it, I don't get to see it. And I really like this stuff. Like I mean, got like Jayburn. I collect lots of Jayburn. Got lots of Fendel. Some of the more electronic dance techno I just find doesn't really exist. But maybe I'm just not seeing it too. That's the other thing. I mean, fuck with the way Twitter is these days, you hardly
So
see yourself anymore.
when we're talking about music and we're I start thinking about like player integration and things like that in object or even off in somewhere else on chain though
Mm-hmm.
is I start to think about Proteon a lot also because like you don't necessarily think of him as a music NFT guy like you do Jayburn or Fendel,
Right.
but god damn his beats down there just chill.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, I totally
Like
dig that fucking house,
even in
that deep
all of
he
his
has.
Solana PFPs and stuff, like they all have their own music to them, and it's like, well, yeah, I wanna load up a playlist of just his Solana PFPs, and like that's an album in itself kind of thing.
I still play his IRL stuff. Usually when I'm on road trips.
Yeah,
All the time. Which is very, very similar to what he puts in his pieces for sure.
yeah, yes,
I,
absolutely.
did he just drop a new? Did he just drop a new one of those on Soul
Not a
or
PFP.
not yet?
I think he's got
Showed.
another PFP dropping. Maybe actually it might have dropped today. But no, there was another piece that was not a non-PFP. It was more of like a clip from the Aftermath series that he dropped earlier this week or last week. The days start to blend. But
No,
I
thought he
put a bid
released
on it. It was really slept on. I put a bid on it just because I had some bonk and some soul there. So, but it went over what I had. But I was willing to go after it for it. It was a
that,
really cool piece.
and it wasn't the PFP piece. It wasn't the Faces of the Aftermath.
So it's, I think it's, I. This is where I don't like speaking for other people, obviously, but I think it's like part of the same series, but it was not a PFP. Like it was more like an expanded, almost like a landscape kind of video.
I think maybe you missed it.
Did he drop another PFP
I,
then?
I know what you're. Yeah, I do. I just clicked in. I do know what you're speaking of, and yes, that is because he's released that new project where he has a little bit of color in it too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No, he did another one. I'm just gonna see here. I'm just gonna fucking do it the right way and.
Well, I also like if when it comes to the PFPs, like he drops the existing collector some alpha, so I don't want to speak out of turn if he hadn't dropped that yet.
He does have another portrait. Okay, I'll pin it to the top there.
Okay.
All right, I pinned it up to the top there for you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I think she's sick. I don't think he's released it. I think it'll be like next week, right? Because I think he usually does those on Tuesdays.
Oh yeah, so that's today, and he says here's the next one. So
yeah. No,
yeah,
that's
actually I think he starts them on Wednesday, and they finish on Thursday.
Okay.
So that might be going up for auction tomorrow on Savant. In case anybody listens to this in the morning.
Yeah. Had to switch over here. I got to go let the dog out. Yeah, no, I like her. She's a good looking one.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. I do like that one. I actually put mine up for sale. My PFP up for sale. I listed it kind of high. It's kind of a, I'm definitely not willing to take a loss on it, kind of thing. But it is up for sale because I'm like, well, I think there might be another one that might suit me a little bit better in the rest before we get to the end of the series. So if it does go, if it does sell, then I'll definitely be looking to just buy back into the collection into one of the next couple pieces because there's only, I don't know how many is released, but there's not a lot left. I know that, and there's not a lot for sale. So it's not like I could sell it and then buy back into an older piece. Like I'd be waiting to see out what's coming up next.
Yeah.
And get into another.
You just got to have more than one, Willie.
Nah, my budget doesn't account for that this year. Last year we had a house sale. We were bulling in the bear market, if you will.
Yeah.
This year we're going to be bearing in the bull market. Hopefully we get a bull market. So
make it so. Will it into existence. Will it into existence.
It's making a lot more calculated moves this year.
I am definitely not investing like I did last year. That's for sure. I'm just hanging in Tezos, having a great time. That's where I live. As long as I can keep buying my Fendel pieces and the occasional Laser Lou piece. So it's all I need, man. I bought an NFT murder yesterday. That was a
what?
I bought an NFT murder piece yesterday. He released on Tez.
Oh yeah? Is that new Tez piece?
Yeah.
See, this is why I hate Twitter.
Oh man, it's the same thing. I'll eventually find out something that you've picked up, and I'm like, whoa, and then it's like, well, Twitter never showed me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it like 100. What is this one here? Yeah, 100 editions of this one piece that he just created called Split. It's really cool. I'll pin that up at the top for you too. There's still some available before he burns them off.
Nice. Check that one else up.
Now I know how to airdrop from my ancient iPhone. I still have my very first iPhone 3G, I think it was. And it's still loaded with music, and I still pull it out occasionally. And
I was gonna say, does the battery still work in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was one of the really good.
I give that about 4 or 5 more years before it becomes really nostalgic and starts bringing in some value.
Oh fuck! I own every iPhone that I've ever had from there on out. Basically every fucking.
Really?
Oh yeah, I still got them sitting here in a stack.
I flipped them all. It's the only thing I've ever flipped.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's the only thing I've ever been good at flipping, I should say. The only thing I've ever actually made my money back and put it in the next one. I'm getting a real bad access.
My ex from me? No,
Yeah.
shouldn't be me. No.
The other one running two phones.
Nope, the other one's muted and you can see on the screen. Muted.
Yeah.
I don't know, Willie. It sounds like voodoo.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
My ex used to flip her phones all the time, and it makes sense. She always made a big chunk of cash off of it, and it's like it was paid for, right? It was so. It's pretty impressive. They hold their value.
Yeah, I always had it down. Like I always figured out, is it better to sell it 1 year or 2 years, and does it make a difference? And like where's the optimal time? And honestly, it never really made a difference. Like it got cheaper, but then you got more out of it. Anyways, the math never really varied between 1 and 2 years.
Yeah.
After 2 years, it does start to. As long as you're able to sell it within the first couple weeks to maybe up to 3 months after the newest edition comes out.
Okay.
You always have to sell within that optimal time, but yeah, as long as you did that, the math on 1 year or 2 years never really mattered.
Yeah, you might as
but
well.
Now basically AT&T and T-Mobile and all your major cell phone companies, even Apple themselves, have kind of worked that in. They're like, yeah, well, this is what the market is for these, so we buy them back and you just get the new phone.
They'll never buy mine back. Mine are always fucking no. They're not destroyed, but they're not destroyed, but they're never good enough. They're never ever once they look at them, oh, this little scuff over here. Okay, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm not some desk sitting motherfucker here. I was out there in the shop working in the grit and the grease, and my phone falling on the floor.
So I feel like my old lady doesn't like us. She just popped in the space, texted me, said, "Where's Mike Nash?" and then bounced out. All right, fuck, I see where I'm at.
I know. I think we lost a lot of listeners. We lost a lot of listeners tonight because Mike Nash wasn't here. Damn it. That's all right. Yeah. I actually every spit. Yeah. I mean, he's only missed 2. I think.
Yeah, since he's in our third mic, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we take him as a third mic. We don't like to put that pressure on him.
No. He's a busy man. He's a busy dude. Even him coming in here and hanging out with us till fucking. Well, I mean, if it's midnight my time, it's 2 a.m. his time.
Yeah.
Not that he has to get up at 6 a.m. and go to work like myself.
No, I think he's a night owl most of the times, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Lou somehow. I don't know how the hell Lou gets up in the morning. Goes to a real job.
Lou's a machine, man. He's living off lasers. He's injecting those
Crazy, man.
laser waves into his veins, man. Gets
Just
going.
injecting gamma rays straight into his veins like Hulk, like the Incredible Hulk.
He's going to be bigger.
Green laser.
He's going to be bigger and greener next year when we see him.
As long as his mustache is fluffy.
There you go. Where's that? This was a beautiful Mike Nash moment from last week that I got a clip of here.
I mean, I try to treat everybody, the way I want to be treated, and keep it all kosher and stuff. And it's actually one of the things, and I'll scream it from the rooftops, and I have been for the past 3 years, that this space is one of the only places on Earth or in any universe or whatever that you can get to know somebody's soul, their blood, sweat, and tears without having all these micro judgments of age, race, gender, color, nationality, geography, all this stuff. You can get to know people and their souls without making up your mind about somebody. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Web3.
Oh, you just gave me chills, Mike.
Hey, I like that one.
I was actually going to repeat that sentiment tonight, but I kept thinking about it. Like, that's why we don't look at age or race, or because we were talking about age basically, and talking about I might have never met some 25-year-olds or whatever that and had the same outlook and respect and things like that. And I was kind of thinking about that exact same sentiment. I think Mike worded it a little better than I would have.
That was a computer. You gave me that timestamp because remember you gave me those timestamps last week or on Sunday whenever we chatted, and when I got to that one, I was like listen, and I was like, wow, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. That was good stuff. I like
That's
those.
exactly why we're here. That's exactly why we look at the art only and don't try to dig into the artist.
Little bit into the artist. Little bit.
Try not to.
Well,
try not to know too much. I don't care. I don't care until they tell me.
Fair enough.
Because I don't want to, just like Mike said, I don't want to prejudge anything based on location or age, race, sexuality, whatever. Doesn't matter. None of that matters.
Which
art
even
matters.
Art matters, absolutely. But it kind of. It's interesting, but I guess so many people don't look at it that way, though, right? Because it's been brought up over and over. Like when Threes brought up, what was Threes in the top 100 producers in Tezos? There wasn't a single female artist.
Yeah, something like that.
Was it Tezos? I can't remember, but it was whatever
top 50 or something like that. But yeah, there wasn't a single artist in the list, basically.
Yeah, it's like how can people say, I mean, it's just strange how a lot of people can feel this way, that it doesn't matter, these things shouldn't matter and they don't matter in this space, but I guess apparently they do.
Because we're not the ones at the top, right? I mean, that's kind of why we're here, is to try to expose that kind of stuff. We're trying to be the people that matter, so that we can show that none of that matters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ooh,
and I think
clip that one, buddy. Woo.
Yeah, got.
I just zoned out there for a minute.
That's good. Yeah, like I'm really that's where I'm excited to have Empress on next week. I think she is going to be a really great education.
Yeah, I think if she's willing to and wants to, like, we can get into a lot of that and really kind of dig into some nuts and bolts, because I think she knows a lot of it from both sides, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. from the
Yeah.
from the producer and collector side, but also from like the like the higher up, the curator and the working closely with the top of the Tezos and the NFT like marketplaces. So
Is gonna be good.
I think we can get into a lot of that.
It's gonna be good. Boom. And we're going through fucking halfway through January.
Dude, we're booked through January.
Oh yeah, dude.
We gotta work on February. Anyway, all right, man. I think we should save that for next week. We'll get into that with Empress. Call it a night tonight.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I'm gonna find a little song to play us out on because I just think it'd be nice to have a little song to play us out on if my phone's gonna work, and if it's not gonna work, well then we're not gonna do it. It wasn't meant to be. It's an iPhone 8. I can't ask too much of it. Yeah, it's not even. That's the thing with being a mechanic too. Now that I'm back, turning wrenches now, my fingers aren't recognized as human fingers anymore when it comes to touch screens. A lot of the times, like
they're just giant meat sacks.
Yeah, like thank God for Face ID because man, like I used to always end up having to use my pinky as my identification to open my phone because it was like basically the only finger that I didn't use when like turning nuts and bolts and shit like that.
That's
right?
interesting.
Yeah, it was a fucked up. I was like, I remember when it first happened to me, and I was like, oh, wow, this is shitty. Because my thumb is like all worn away, so is my index finger, right, from doing that shit. Yeah, it's not something they thought about, I guess. Well, I mean, whatever. My fingerprint has changed on those fingers when I work. When I was driving truck, though, I was all like supple and soft, and my fingers always worked.
Well, yeah, it's an inside job. Whether you're inside the cab or inside an office.
All right, I got to give up. I tried to bullshit long enough to pull up a song, and it didn't work. So, no closing out song. That's okay. That's all right. Cool, man. All right. Well, you go have a good night of rest and enjoy your day at work tomorrow. Back at the office.
Nope, at the house tomorrow.
Oh,
got a short school day, so at the house tomorrow. I'll be in the office on Thursday though.
Those dang kids hardly go to school anymore. My niece and nephew are fucking home all the time. It's always a building day, a teacher's convention day, or whatever the hell. It's like that's
now
wild.
You know why Lou has a closet.
Yeah, it's where you got. Eventually, that's where you'll be someday, man. Well, you got to build an office out in your backyard.
Yeah, I'm trying to. We're getting there.
All right, folks. Well, for those of us that remain standing here in this room, thanks for hanging out. Laser Lou, Fendel, appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to us. We hope we were some kind of entertainment tonight. We tried. HB was, that's for sure. That guy was wild. So we'll see you next week. Empress Trash will be our guest. Train's coming into the station. Wait till it comes to a complete stop before you step off. Otherwise, you're going to fall flat on your face. Have a good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next week.
I'm not having a glass of wine. I'm having 6. It's called a tasting, and it's classy.
Innkeeper, more wine!
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?